Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. If it's Tuesday, it must be Tailgate Tuesday with the Idle Zone Syndicate. You like that? Like that better? We are so fancy, aren't we?
Here we are, Mary.
So I want to explain to everyone right off the bat. Facebook, man. They zapped our page, our Idle Zone Syndicate page, and that doesn't affect the way that, being able to see the show at all. But it was cool because so many of you are using Facebook primarily, and that was the easy way to interact with y'all. Zapped her, baby. We were zuckered.
Thanks a lot, Zuckerberg.
A little too ornery on that.
What happened?
It's all your fault. You just get a little too ornery on there.
Mm-hmm.
I guess.
All those spoil hat videos and such.
You think so?
Maybe.
Impersonation was the reason I was given. We were impersonating a member of an organization, whatever that means. So onward and upward. We have a great guest tonight, and man, is she brave. I would be nervous about coming on and talking with us, and I can't imagine what she's thinking. Who we got tonight, Mr. Kister?
Well, thanks for putting me on the spot. I'm right in the middle of a text message to my spouse about.
Whoops! Oh, I'm sorry. Whoops.
Not as necessarily as prepared as I should be, Danny.
Oh, okay.
But hey, we've got a unique angler, NPFL Pro, Tackle Warehouse Invitationals Pro. Stephanie, and I'm going to screw up her last name. I've been practicing this all day. Stephanie Hemphill-Pellerin, I believe.
Pellerin. Was that close?
No.
No?
But it's okay. That's why we have HP up there, because who cares about my two last names that are as long as the alphabet?
I listened to Big Al MC a tournament you weighed in at, and I listened to how he pronounced it, and I had it right for a little bit.
He does it wrong too. Don't even let him. I make him think it's right. Okay. I mean, he's so big, he towers over you. I'm scared to tell him it's wrong.
Yeah, he is a little bit of a big guy.
Yeah, for sure.
How you doing?
I'm good. Actually, I just got off of Sam Rayburn. I literally drove in. I've been home for about 30 minutes or so. So I just walked in, and I have on my fat pants, and I'm drinking a cup of coffee now. So we're all good in Southeast Texas.
Is the water on the rise down there on Big Sam like it is everywhere else?
Yes, it is. And pretty much you can catch them offshore. You can catch them shallow. You can pretty much catch them wherever you want to catch them right now, because the water's rising. And as a lot of you know, water rises, bass also go with it, and eat crickets and everything else that they can possibly eat. So on top of that, we're in the middle of a spawn too. So, it's pretty fun right now.
Did you flip any bushes today?
I did. I flipped bushes. I frogged. I used my jerk shad minnow because I just got my Mega Live 2 in. It was running a little late. So I'm trying to get myself recalibrated to that. And there's a lot of different things that you have to do to make it nice and crisp. And I don't want to show up to my event on Friday, first day of practice for the invitationals at Smith, not really knowing what's going on. But it definitely surpassed all my expectations that I had.
Cool.
For sure.
Very cool.
Yeah.
You have someplace that rigs your boat for you down there?
Well, is Bass Boat wired? They're around the Dallas-Fort Worth area. When I'm around that area, that's who does it. When I'm around here, it's Jordan Marine. That's actually where I got my boat from. He's a Phoenix dealer. They do a fantastic job. They keep me going, my motor, everything. So I'm definitely blessed to have them.
Cool. Danny's staring off in the abyss. We may have comments already.
I'm just
Just
doing
a
my
bunch of hellos.
my muting thing.
So, Danny, you mentioned, I'm going to let you ask a couple questions because I'm curious, but earlier we were kind of messaging back and forth, and Danny said that you fished or still fish with the lady bass anglers.
No, I don't fish with them anymore. I definitely think it's a very good thing that they're doing. That was 2021. I started back with them back 2009, 10 area. So I mean, I've been doing this for a long time. I took a break for my kids, and then I said there was going to be a day I came back. Fishing's not a new thing for me. I've been doing it my whole life. And I work really, really hard. I work more hard, like trying to get better on the water because things are changing so fast that it's really hard to keep up sometimes, especially if you're old school and you learn how to fish the old school ways. When Ford Basin sonar was introduced, it was definitely different. I didn't want anything to do with it for a really long time because I'm like, this is cheating. I was just like everybody else. It's cheating, da da da. But then I took the time to get good at it, and I have a lot of different opinions about all that now. And a big congratulations to the kid that won the classic. Man, that's amazing. And I really hate that he's getting so much backlash from something that takes a lot of skill to learn. I mean, it takes skill to learn those things. And, so like I told y'all, we can talk about anything and everything. I'm all about it. It's just, I would love to see some more positivity in the fishing world.
Absolutely.
We need a lot of it.
I think we're all on the same page there.
Yeah.
I've had a belly full
really
all
sad.
Well, maybe take us back. You mentioned that, you been fishing with, or you started with lady bass several years.
I started with them and the BFLs at the same exact time. I'm not going to at all say I have not struggled throughout all this. Learning to be a tournament angler is not like going to fish on the weekends. It's a total different mindset. Your planning is totally different. Everything is totally different. So I've definitely had my ups and downs, but like I said, I started with LBAA and the BFLs, stayed with the BFLs the following year. I was Rookie of the Year with LBAA. And then, I concentrated on BFLs and Toyotas, and then I did some opens. And I see somebody ask, what's her highest finish on the open? Hey, I've always sucked in opens, Christopher Grant. I will be the first to say it. I don't know why. I don't know if it's the expectations I have for myself that I put on myself or what, but that is not a good place to even start with me because you're not going to get anything good out of it. I told you, I'll just face it. It is what it is. I mean, anybody that comes on here says I'm the best and I'm good at everything, they're full of poo-poo is what they're full of because we all suck sometimes. We're all going to have those tournaments that we're like, why am I even here? I just paid $5,200 to do this. Are you kidding me? Like, I just might as well, I don't know, just throw all my stuff in right now. So that's how I feel sometimes. But then you have those moments that are just magical and you know why you're there. So, I mean, it may only be one magical moment that keeps you there, but it keeps you there for another 75 grand.
Because there might be a chance, there might be a chance.
I mean, I've had, like I said, I've had some, really good times. I had a top 10 on the NPFL at Eufaula, Oklahoma, and I could barely walk. I just had knee surgery. And so, that's why I say when you least expect it, good things happen. It's just, you got to let those really, really crappy moments be like amnesia. Just put it somewhere else because it's going to happen no matter who you are. Even Kevin Van Dam had bad tournaments.
So let's back up just a little bit.
Yeah.
How did you get started fishing?
Well, my dad and my grandpa. My dad had me. Actually, we can go further back than that. So my mom, women in my family have their own boats, okay? It's just how it goes. She loves to crappie fish. So she had a pontoon boat. She actually put a playpen on the pontoon boat and put me in there at 6 months old. Before you people on the internet start getting my mom because I was a 6-month-old without a life jacket on, you know, it was in the 80s. Come on, there's a lot of things you could do back then and not wear a seatbelt. I mean, there's a lot of things that you could do back then. But yeah, I'm old, so that tells you how old I am. But that's where it kind of all started, and then I started bass fishing with my dad when I was about 2. My dad,
And
my
that
grandpa.
was down in South Texas.
That Sam Rayburn. He still
Okay.
lives on Sam Rayburn. I've lived here most of my life, you know, other than me going to the military. So I've lived around the United States and in Korea, but other than that, you know, I've always primarily been around here. I won't get too far away because my family's the most important thing to me. You don't have them forever, so
Very true.
I
That's
just
awesome.
came here.
So you started fishing when you were old enough to not wear a life jacket in a boat, and
Yeah, I
obviously
didn't know life jackets even existed back then. You know,
from the sounds of it, we're kind of similar, close in age. So we didn't have the benefits of having high school fishing or college
No.
fishing or any of that. So did you like jump into amateur team tournaments, or did you join a bass club, or did you do any of that?
I was a part of a bass club for a long time. I did that, and you know, the whole big bass splash. While I could do it, you know, I did that type of stuff. But for a really long time, I did it because I enjoyed it. I loved bass fishing. You know, it was every good memory I had ever had being on the water with my dad, and my grandfather. And you know, it's just really close to my heart. So when you do have bad tournaments, I try to remember that. Why did I start doing this to begin with? And you know, I swear my husband a lot of times think I'm more in love with fishing than I am with him. And sometimes I say, yeah, that is true, but today is true. But tomorrow I may love you more. But anyways, yeah, I love it. It's been a very big blessing to be led in this direction.
And so fast forward just a little bit, and now we're on the I say we, I mean you are on the MPFLs. Did you start fishing the Tackle Warehouse Invitationals first?
No, I didn't. So I'm on my 3rd year with the NPFL.
Okay.
And I'm actually and I hate the rookie word because freaking 43 years old and a rookie again. But anyways, rookie on the invitationals. They wanted me to come last year. I just was not quite ready because it is a very big load in between the MPFL and the invitationals. And I'm also fishing some VFLs and, you know, some pro-ams and stuff like that. So it's constant. You know, you throw in the shows, you know, classic. I just got back from Red Crest. I mean, it's literally all your time is pretty much taken. You know, but I try to throw in as much as I possibly can throw in there. Yeah, I forgot what the question was about. I've been up since like 4 o'clock this morning. So
just you know, go. It's fine.
I'm gonna just butt in here. Okay, we've been doing this podcast a year. In 2 weeks, it'll be a year, and we've had, I don't know, like 40 guests, 50 guests. I don't know. You are top 3 already. I mean, we're 14 minutes into this, and you are top 3.
Oh, well, thank
absolutely.
You. I like to talk. Can you tell?
Well, that's awesome. You know, this isn't hard, but for some people, it's just not. It's not their thing. You know, they're thinking they need to do it to promote their sponsors and stuff, and they're just so stiff and scared to death to talk. And
you know, the thing is not everybody's always going to like you. You're going to have people.
Sure.
Misunderstanding things that you say. It's going to happen. It's just the understanding of human beings, right? And so I understand that. So I'm not always going to say the right things, but I really try to. I try to do the right things when I can, but you know, there's no reason to not come on here and be yourself, because that's who we are when we're out of the boat, right? I mean, this is our one chance to show people who we are. Besides, holding our rod and reel, I can sit here and plug every one of my partnerships, which I do when the time is right. But at the end of the day, I know who supports me, and I know my family loves me, and I'm getting to do what I absolutely love. So there is absolutely nothing to complain about.
Well, you're getting some love in the comments already over here. Bassing with
Oh, well, thank you. I love bassing with Blondie. I actually got to meet her at the Bassmaster Classic. I thought I was going to see her at Red Crest, but I did not. But I was looking for you. So she's very inspirational herself. And yeah, so I really enjoyed meeting her. I think she's about 11 or 12, but I'm not quite sure on the age, somewhere around there.
Well, what's crazy is Danny said you were his top 3. Unfortunately, you're the first lady angler we've gotten to have a chance to talk to. And that's just it's crazy how even in 2025 that it's really kind of still the way it was when I was young, not really taking off a whole lot. I mean, the Travis, he's got the lady bass anglers. How many boats is he averaging in those tournaments, Danny?
30.
It's just still a little bit crazy to me. I mean, I see a lot of ladies fishing with their husbands in the team events and stuff, but can you kind of explain just, is it intimidating to you? Is it just kind of one of those deals where it's always been you fished against?
It's always been in me, but my dad also always told me that I was no different than anyone else, that sex didn't matter in fishing, and I still believe that to this day. And so I'm not usually the one to ask those questions to, because, I want women to come to the sport, but I also want them to take the reins. You never know what you can do until you get out there and do it. If you want to learn how to back down a truck, then do it in private and go on a freaking Tuesday afternoon or a day that nobody's going to be there and go practice backing down your boat. If you are worried about, being in a bay of 250 boats at a BFL because you're worried that you're going to bump into them. Do you know how many dudes bump into each other? Like, I see it nonstop. All you do is back it up, crank up, get your boat off the trailer, and put down your trailer motor. It's that simple. I mean, there's just so many things that are so easy to go around if you just try, and I think a lot of women don't have that faith in themselves. And nobody has probably installed that in them, but I'm here to tell you can do it. Like, you can do it. Just, I mess up. Heck, I've messed up so many times. It's, it's ridiculous. But my dad also had me backing up his truck at 12 years old. I had a flat bottom boat I could go fishing in any time of the day, anytime I wanted to, and no life jackets. My brother and I, we'd go fishing just whenever, like during the summer, on a Tuesday, on a Wednesday. My brother and I just go off and go do our thing in a canoe, wherever, and that's how I grew up. But also I was taught to do those things. Like, if I did it wrong, I'm telling you right now, my dad had me backing up in between 2 trees. That's how that's how I learned how to back up his trailer, between 2 trees. And, it was like, I had to do it until I got it right. And then, that's what I did. I just don't believe sex matters, in the world of fishing. I wish more women would come fish with the guys, because I can tell you right now, if the guys were to say, hey, we're going to have our own league and women can't join. Do you know how mad the women would be?
Oh, yeah.
Like, they would be freaking mad.
Oh,
they just would. So, I mean, I would like to see a lot more of, men and women fishing together. I would love to see it.
The sport, I think, needs it too.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I can tell you women are really good at finesse fishing. We pay attention to detail. There's so many things that we are good at, but you would never know it because there's not a lot of us out there.
Right.
So, and then one bad person too. One bad person can make all of us look bad. Every one of us, because there's so few of us.
Yes.
So we get judged based on somebody else, which is not, always the right case, but that's just how people work.
There was definitely, I I was impressed by a lady angler at an early age, just simply because she actually ran the American Bass Anglers division that I started fishing in high school, and she was the loudest voice. She was the strongest presence. She herded everybody around like a crazy group of cats and did it great, you know. She was awesome. And that's what's kind of always just never made a whole lot of sense to me is it's like you go to the lake and you don't see a whole lot of gals fishing.
If you think about it though, and I'm just speculating. I'm just different because I was taught to be different. But women graduate from high school. They may be into fishing then, but they go to college. They may meet the love of their life. They decide to have kids. Then they're a housewife or they have a job. They're taking care of family. You know, unfortunately, I don't think that's top priority. I think they want to go do what they need to do, take care of their families, because as women, we are homemakers. A lot of us are. Please don't get me in the comments now. But I think that's a lot of why you're not seeing a lot of women and why you're seeing a lot more of them that are in their 40s and 50s and 60s kind of come into the game because they finally can. Man, they got kids, they're married, they're having grandchildren, they can finally go do what they want to do. But I just think it's pretty rare, you know, for a woman to say, hey, I'm going fishing, take care of the kids and have dinner cooked when I get back. I would 1,000% tell my husband that, but y'all don't have to worry about that because I'm sure y'all's wives are not like that.
If my wife's listening, she would I wish she was listening because she'd be like, let's slap hands because she would love to tell me.
I mean, you know, it can go either way, but I think that's probably the main reason. Like I said, I can't speak for everybody, but that's what I see. I mean, just, you know, out here. And if you do see some women anglers, a lot of them are single too, and they can freely go out and fish wherever they want and stay gone for weeks at a time, and nobody cares. Not saying nobody cares about them, but you know what I mean. Like, they don't have a husband at home wondering why they haven't been home for 3 weeks. So. Now mine would wonder why I was gone for 6. I'm like, that was a little long. I did just get off a 6-week stretch though, literally.
How was that?
It was tiring. It really wasn't tiring until like I was going into my 6th week. Then I was like, I'm kind of tired.
I mean, that's a stretch.
Yeah, but as soon as I get back, I go right back fishing again the next day. So, you know, it doesn't ever stop. You know, you think, hey, I'm going to take a break, but then you got something else to work on, like a new rod to bring in, right?
And like you said, you know, putting a Mega Live 2 on or any new piece or whatever, you want to make sure that it's dialed in or tried and true, or, you know, I would be the exact same way. I would be so nervous if I just got a brand new piece of gear on my rig and had a tournament in 4 or 5 days. You're going to have to put some time behind the wheel to get it adjusted and all figured out.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, that's with anything. You know, all forward-facing sonar is a little bit different. I will say that. But I'm telling y'all right now, Mega Live 2 is pretty dang awesome. It took me a little bit to get it all tuned up, but once I did, it's so much fun. But then, listen, so I'm getting all good at this and everything. Invitationals, I get one day with it and one day without. They even take away my 360. You should have seen what I said when I found out they were taking away my 360. Now, that's like something I can't hardly go without, is my 360. Like, it's hard. Like, it's mentally hard at that point.
So what's your thoughts on 360, 2D sonar, mapping, and forward facing, like all of that together on the bow of a boat? Like,
it's freaking amazing.
I mean, you're using your 360, to find the log, and then you're using your active target or forward, you're using your forward facing to precisely flip or cast to it, or, you know, walk us through a little bit of how you use that system.
So when I'm using 360 and Mega Live 2 together along with my mapping, obviously it 360. I'm going to kind of explain to people, I guess, that is not, maybe possibly does not know. Basically, if you have Mega 360, basically what that is let's say if you were in a helicopter above your boat, you were looking down at your boat and the water was extremely clear, you would see everything on the bottom in a 360 view around your boat. Meaning if there was a lay down sitting, at, let's say 10 o'clock, you're going to see that lay down just how it sits on your screen, on your 360 screen. So if you use your live along with that, not only are you seeing the structure, but then you use your live to see, okay, well, there's fish here. They're sitting down at the end of this lay down and blah, blah, blah. You can see a lot more of what they're doing. Are they moving? Are they swimming around? What are they doing? Are they chasing bait? So, I mean, 360 to me, why it is so beneficial, because it doesn't take a scientist to know if you see a lay down, there's going to be fish there. That's one reason why I say you can take away my live away from me, but you take away my 360, it's like taking away my eyes, right? Because if you've been fishing long enough, if you see a bush, there's going to be a fish in there most likely. If you see the hydrilla line, probably where they're going to be sitting. So, you put all of it together, man, it's freaking amazing. And, a lot of people are going to be like, forward-facing sonar is cheating. And we kind of talked about this a little bit, but for me, it is not. It is something that you have to get really, really good at. It is a skill. Now, do I think some of these kids coming up, do they need to know how to fish without it? Heck yeah, you need to know how to do that. You need to know if all this goes dead on you, what are you going to do and where are you going to go? You need to know those things. That's something you need to know. But you also need to know how to use forward-facing sonar because it's not going away. It's not.
I think it's definitely that's a good point. I really, really think it's a good idea. Like right now, my son is 6 years old, and his birthday is coming around the corner here in May, and I think it's best for me to start him as close to the basics as possible. But I'm not going to just sit here and lie to everybody and say that I'm not running my forward-facing sonar unit while I'm fishing, because I am, plain and simple. But I'm like, and he's asking questions, what's on that screen? I'm like, bub, don't worry about it. Let's just worry about casting, basic stuff. So, very valid point.
I mean, if everybody could just remember this, it is a tool. Like your rod is a tool, your reel is a tool. That chatterbait you're going to tie on, that's a tool. Everything you use in a boat is a tool. Tools can be taken away, and you got to be still good enough to have those tools taken away to still be able to catch fish. Because everything is a tool. You learn how to use everything. We didn't all just wake up in diapers and, hey, I'm going to throw this bait caster out there and I'm not going to backlash. That's not how it works. Same thing with forward-facing sonar. You're not going to turn it on and all of a sudden catch fish. They're not going to just jump in your lap. Although that could be a good thing if they did. But it's not going to happen like that. So you got to get good at it, just like you do with anything else. So like I said, congrats to any kid, adult, old man that wins any tournament using it, because I know it takes a heck of a lot more than just that to win a tournament.
Yeah. I mean, you still got to catch them.
You still got to catch them. Still got to find them. You got 3 days to find fish. Man, have y'all ever really thought about that? 3 full days to go find the winning fish. It's crazy if you just think about it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're trying to catch something with a brain, not using guns either. So, you know what I mean? It's crazy just thinking about it if you just ever really do. So,
I'm just glad that we're talking to somebody that has an open mind. I really am, because
I definitely have an open mind.
I'm going to be honest with you. Some of our guests that we've had on, they only think between here somewhere, and it is what it is. Everybody's got a different opinion. And I guess that's maybe why I enjoy this podcast so much, because we spoke with Matt Herron, for example, and his thoughts of forward-facing sonar were actually pretty interesting.
Really?
He wanted to find somebody that had a whole bunch of money, and he wanted to build a fishing version of Top Golf. And
Yeah.
That's actually kind of cool. Like if you had an open bar and everything, I mean, it could be fun.
You could.
Hey, you could even add like flipping and stuff like that, like to it. Like you flip into maybe some holes or something. Kind of like washers, but flipping.
And Matt Herron was like adamant. He goes, if you want to play video games and enjoy forward-facing sonar, then that would be perfect for you. And I think that would make a lot of money. And I mean, we're just sitting here listening to him talk, and we're going, "That's the coolest idea I've ever heard."
Yeah, I'd go. I'm not gonna lie. I'd probably be the first one there. I would start like a whole club. Like how we have like Saturday clubs, club tournaments. I'd have to start like a whole like Sunday afternoon club tournament or something.
Right.
That'd be the only day I
League
wasn't
day.
gonna fish though, like real fish.
Sunday afternoon league.
Yeah, exactly. You know how awesome that would be? You put up so much money. I mean, obviously I like betting with money.
Well, I mean, we're professional gamblers when we fish tournaments.
Yeah, well, that's what we all are. I mean, like I said, you get a little bit of success, and that $75,000 later, here you are. You're still here, and you haven't won anything.
So tell us what it's like, kind of going back and forth between the invitationals that allow you to use certain technology and the MPFL that doesn't.
Mentally, it's kind of tough a little bit. The rules are a little bit different, so I have to be in full understanding of what they are and where I'm at the time. But I have had such a great experience with Major League Fishing. I now kind of wish I would have done it last year, but I am glad I'm finally in with them. But I will also say the MPFL is family to me. That is one thing that's done differently over there is we all treat each other like family. And so you don't hold on. We got somebody.
Hey.
Hey, what does that shirt say right there? I am.
I am Church of the Shepherd.
Okay, very nice. I like it. I almost wore I Won Practice t-shirt, but I didn't know how y'all would take it. So I ended up doing it.
Well, we kind of challenge each other every week to wear a different t-shirt and something bizarre that nobody else has. And I just went with the plain old talk to me goose tonight. So
Hey, I have that in a tank top.
That's a
we're
good one.
twinsies. We're twinsies.
Hey, I bet you it came off Amazon, huh?
Maybe so.
I don't even know if I should say that on here, but sorry.
You're fine. Who's this Steven over here in the comments?
That's my husband. Yeah, that's him. Yeah. He doesn't fish a lot. I allow him to get in my boat every so often. And yes, it's an allowed situation. He's driven my boat. He actually has taken out my boat one time, and we were actually in a fight that day. And he was basically saying, "Yeah, I could go out there and do this easy." I'm like, "Okay, go ahead, get out there, go do it." I think there was 5-foot swells that day. He tried scoping, that didn't work. I knew it wasn't going to work, so I had a good relaxing day in my bed all day. I watched movies, and I watched that 25-mile-per-hour winds outside. I knew exactly how that day was going to go. He hasn't asked to do it again. So I accomplished what I wanted to accomplish. Sorry, Steven.
You are welcome. That you covered one of the questions I was going to have for you, because I've been a tournament director in the past, and my wife was Okay, she was actually the tournament director. I just did all the talking.
Mhm.
And, you know, people assume that she loved to fish and goes all the time and goes with me all the time and all that. And actually, no, she doesn't want a thing to do with it. So I was going to ask if how that
He
factored
can fish
in.
okay. You know, we've had some big arguments in the boat before. You know, he likes to watch fishing shows and throw whatever they're throwing up north down here at Sam Rayburn. So I often look back there and why are you throwing that? And I'll listen to his explanation. I'll just turn around. Now I don't even say anything anymore. I just shake my head and get back to what I'm doing. And yeah, every so often I'll tell him where to throw, but that's about it. But he hasn't been with me lately.
Cranker, we need to rename this episode Role Reversal, I think.
I haven't gotten him to start washing clothes yet. I have failed in that part. So,
Well, John,
yeah,
glad you could make it.
Glad to be here.
We had warned Stephanie that you were going to be a little late with your birthday dinner, but I forgot to announce to the viewership. So, hey, yeah, like Andrew had asked earlier, where's John? Well, he had a previous engagement this evening.
Yeah. I mean, when you're as old as I am, birthday celebrations are dinner at a Mexican restaurant with a bunch of old people. So they typically don't last very long.
Well, it's almost dusk, so I'm with you.
Hmm. Yep. It's not my birthday, Dennis. Not my birthday. It's just a friend's birthday. And when you're our age, you got to go to those birthdays because you just never know if there's going to be another one.
yeah, that's no joke.
Well, you missed the fact that I've already named Stephanie HP as a top 3 guest of all time on the Idle Zone Syndicate.
Oh, nice. That didn't take long.
I don't know what accolade we can afford for that honor. Maybe just I love the firework thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I
Yeah.
can tell y'all a funny story real quick. Then
Please.
do not raise your daughters like this, okay? Anybody listening, please take your daughters fishing, but don't ever do this because I think it may be child abuse to a certain little degree, but maybe not. So we're at Major League Fishing. I went to Red Crest. We went to the ball. My dad was my date at the ball, and my dad likes to talk to people. I'm not going to even say who he's talking to, but he goes to tell this person to teach me how to have thicker skin and to always try and this and that when I'm in the boat. He would have little mini tournaments in the boat. I'm telling you, from the time I was little to the time I was 18 years old. But when I was younger, it was you cannot have a drink of water until you catch a fish. Literally. That's why I say it may be a tiny bit like child neglect or something, but at the same time, he didn't do it like when it was 100 degrees outside. Like it would be like 70 or 80 or something. But then as I got older, he would give my brother and I, we'd have a little tournament within our boat for 2 days. And he'd be like, whoever catches the most weight or most fish, you get $60. When you're 16 years old and gas that time was like 97 cents a gallon. Heck, that bought my gas. That bought my multiple dinners. And I could go to the movies. So, I mean, yeah, that tells y'all how old I am. I'm old. But either way, like that's what we did. So we can blame my dad for this horrible addiction that I have, my gambling addiction. So, yeah. And backlashes, that was a whole nother situation. Like I didn't go from like a Zetco, he called them fairy wands, but I don't call them that. Spinning rod. I didn't go from a Zetco to a spinning rod to, I went straight from a Zetco to a bait caster at 7 years old. And he had me like pulling out my my line because it would be all messed up and everything. He'd make me sit there and do it until I got it right. So he really believed in me doing everything myself. And so maybe that's why I am the way I am. Who knows?
Sounded a lot like high school basketball practice to me.
I guess, but I'm on a lake with I'm not underneath a roof and the sun is blazing down on you. I'm
Yeah.
messing with. Yeah, it's a lot like that.
Comment from Nate Detmer. I'm guessing this is Bassam with Blondie's dad. She had to go to bed, and he thanked you for being a great inspiration, and y'all have a great night. So
Thank
thanks
you
for
very much,
watching.
Nate. It was a pleasure getting to meet you too as well.
She did confirm that she is 11.
Yeah, I thought 11 or 12. I just couldn't really remember which one it was. But I did get to meet her at the Classic. And, as many people as you meet, you're something special if you can remember that one person and how they treated you, the questions they ask. And, if I can tell everybody on here that fishes, that works some of these shows, or even at a tournament, the best 5 minutes of your life is going to be spent talking to a kid. And the reason being, how many of us were there off that stage watching the people that we look up to just walk right by us? There's some that wouldn't, but a lot of them would just walk on by. And all you wanted was them just to pay 5 minutes attention to you. That's it. So if you can ever do just one thing, do that, because I promise you, they're going to remember it. And they're going to remember how kind you were, and hopefully they grow up to be the same way when they're in your shoes. So a little bit more serious there, but it's just really something that's very important to me.
It's definitely a big deal. Like I said, I've got a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old, and I went to the Classic. We took him to the Classic last year when it was at Grand, and he got to meet Rick Clunn, and we turned around, and us three up here, in January, little small dealership up here in Arma. They have a boat show every year, and in January this year, their boat show, Rick Clunn was a guest speaker, and he actually was like, "Hey, Bub, I know I remember you from somewhere," and it was pretty cool. You could tell that, how many thousands of people has Rick met? I'm not for sure.
I don't know either, but he remembers everybody, and I don't know how he does it.
He's still sharp. Sharp.
Yeah, his brain's way sharper than mine.
I jogged his memory by showing him the magazine cover that he had signed for my son, but very cool stuff.
There's so many awesome guys that have come before us. It's just, there's so many of them. I know everybody can pretty much name 5 of them, but I can name so many more than that, has made such an impact on the sport. And I really enjoy seeing all them. And one of my favorites, and I say this a lot, and most people know it, is Charlie Ingram. He's an awesome dude. I got to be on his show, and I learned a lot from him. And, I started calling him Papa. I was like, can I call you Papa? Like, you remind me of my Papa. My Papa actually died while he's fishing. So anyhow, it just reminded me so much of him, just a great soul and so much knowledge. And I absolutely love talking to them because of the knowledge, because there's so many things that we forget about, so many baits we forgot about, and they're all really still good. I mean, honestly, do you think a bait really goes bad? We just stopped using it. They stopped making it. I mean, we could probably go back to a Sluggo and probably catch them. I don't even know if they still sell those anymore, but I know I used to use them when I was younger. But we could probably go back to using that, and it would still work. So, but yeah, it's all that knowledge that they have in their head. So I pick their brains whenever I can.
If Brian Failer just heard, if he's listening and he heard her say Sluggo, oh my gosh. He's probably getting them out of the basement right now.
Yeah.
We ordered like 10,000 black 6-inch worms. They weren't by anybody special. My dad had them made. They had a pretty long tail to them, but 10,000 of them. Like, we're down to our last 100 now. But they still work. Well, we ordered those in like in the early 90s, and we're still using them. So that's why I say, like, all of it still works. We just evolve and we just forget and we go on to the next thing. Same thing. Like the music that we used to listen to is not cool anymore, but it is when we turn it on now. So kind of the same thing.
I get it. Me and my team partner, he's starting to get up there in age a little bit. He just freshly retired. I tried to say that as easy as possible.
That's not very nice.
He's probably listening. So, but he's kind of an old. I like to throw antique tackle kind of dude, and we may or may not have caught some fish a couple weeks ago on a storm shortwort.
Oh, wow.
And he was giggling like a little baby. I mean, just cackling like crazy when he caught that first fish on it. Just so he's pretty excited.
When you travel, Stephanie, are you a camping person? Are you an Airbnb person?
She's a lake lodge.
This bird back behind me. Like, sorry, got me off a minute. We get Airbnbs. This year's been a little bit rougher than other years because I'm fishing two MLF and MPFL. So funding, I'm having to watch that a little bit, because that only goes so far. But we've been staying in tiny houses. I've stayed in some I don't even want to talk about again, where you feel like when you get out of the shower, you want to step on your own dirty clothes because you do not want to touch the floor. Like you actually put your dirty clothes like in a row, like it's a walkway to get to your bed. Like, it's that bad.
That's nice.
Yeah. That was one of them, a pretty recent one. And then the tiny houses, that's what really gets me. Like, I might as well stay outside all day long, which I do anyways, but yeah. So the living situation when I was just fishing the MPFL was a whole lot better. Plus I had roommates. So that was a lot better too. But it's really hard to get roommates. It really is, especially being a woman. And people guys don't understand. I'm just like them. My brain works pretty close the same way too. So, I'm there to fish, and that's all I'm there for.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe try to win.
Obviously, I want to win. I've been saying that for a while now. It just, I don't know. When my time comes, it's going to come. We don't ever know when God wants that to happen. We just got to be ready for it. So, yeah, my husband's saying all part of the experiences. I don't know. That one place, Stephen, I'm telling you, I had to make a pathway to the bed with my dirty clothes. I'd rather step on that.
I worked for the railroad for a few years, and I know the feeling.
Yeah, just I don't even want to talk about it.
I don't really either because it was terrible. It was terrible.
So bad. The things that you get on the bottom of your feet. And that's pet peeve of mine. Like, oh, hey, one more thing. I think I've kind of hijacked y'all's podcast here, but I actually got me some Crocs. I am a part of the old people club now. I said I would never do it, but these are like flip-flop Crocs, and I have never put something on my feet that feels so freaking good before.
So did you buy those out of necessity for the shower at these places or what?
Well, yeah, I'm going to use it for that too. Heck, I'm walking around the house with them on, in my boat, everywhere. Like, it's going to be a part of my outfit from now on, y'all. Like, these things, I may even lay in bed with them. They're so comfortable. I'm not going to lie. They're pretty good.
I
highly recommend them.
You don't have to be old. My granddaughter is a Croc.
Well, I'm not talking about the Crocs now that you can stick all the little like butterflies and they got those little things that Hey, if you pay me enough money, I will wear those.
I mean, the Croc flip flops at least don't look bad.
No,
A
no,
regular Croc is the ugliest shoe on the face of the earth.
I don't know. My feet may be the ugliest thing we've ever seen, but I'm still going to rock the flip flops. I don't care. I'm telling you. When next time if y'all ever see me in person, look down because I'm going to have them on. I never would wear them before. Like I believe in tennis shoes nonstop, or my water boot, my rain boots. But no, it's going to be flip flops now. No Crocs.
So
Hopefully they're listening.
Since you mentioned it, let's talk about some foul weather gear a little bit.
Why
is that?
Why do you want to talk about foul weather gear?
What's the rain boot of choice?
What's what now?
What's the rain boot of choice?
I wear the FXR rain boots. They're
she's wearing the shirt, dude.
Yeah, so everything I pretty much wear, they make clothes to fit my body, which is awesome. So any women listening, we are built differently than men. I don't have to explain that. But they make shirts fit you, the pants fit in the areas you need them to, and you actually look good wearing them, which is kind of crazy because, I guess we're not supposed to look okay fishing, but whatever.
That's half the battle.
Yeah, I know, right? And they're comfortable. So yeah, so all my rain gear, cold weather gear, everything is FXR. And the cool thing about our cold weather gear is if you fall in the water, you can float up to 2 hours. Yeah. So yes, without a life jacket on, up to 2 hours. And so that's pretty significant when you're talking about really, really cold water, and not having on a life jacket. You don't know when you're going to fall in. So it's kind of good to have that backup.
Yeah, I won't get into it at all, but I just learned today that an older gentleman on Stockton drowned last weekend. One of the legends over there. So.
Oh no.
That is a very big deal. I mean, that is pretty cool that they make some rain gear that does that. I did not know that.
Yeah, they do. And so anytime you go to a show that FXR is at, usually they have like a fake mannequin person in one of these in a big tub, and it's floating. Like you can go and hit it. I mean, it floats the whole entire time that we're there. So obviously, I mean, it probably floats longer than 2 hours, but 2 hours is what we pretty much have. I've never tested it. Don't want to test it because if my butt is in that water and I'm having to wear that, yeah, we're in a very big bind because that water gets really cold. And if you fall in and that water's that cold, I mean, how long does it take to get hypothermia? Not very long.
No.
So, I mean, it's really scary. So I have not tested it. But if y'all want to see me test it, enough people saying it, I may possibly do it for you guys.
We'll wait till the water gets warmer, but I would.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm assuming you're talking about the Vapor Pro boots.
Yes. Yes, okay. That's the ones I wear. Absolutely love them. I have them in 3 different colors. They do make them for women. And they're, matter of fact, I wore them today. I did not wear my flip-flops today. Only because it was 40 degrees this morning.
Well, it says they're on sale right now.
Cold, we had to bypass that one. So
it must be pretty popular.
After 2 hours. Well, Mike, the thing is, I know for a fact I've watched like a mannequin wearing it in a big tub the whole time we were at a show. It was at the Bassmaster Classic, a matter of fact, Expo. That mannequin was in there. Obviously, a mannequin is a little bit lighter, but it floated the whole entire time we were there. And you could go hit it, and it still float. I mean, it still come right back up. So, but 2 hours is what they have on the tag. So, I'd love to say something different, but I don't think I can.
And that's enough time to hopefully swim back to the motor and trim yourself back in the boat or do something. Maybe.
Oh yeah, most definitely. It's just a little bit of extra. It makes you comfortable. It makes me comfortable knowing if something happens that I will float.
Yeah.
It makes me very comfortable.
That's the cold weather gear. Do you wear Do you wear a different one in the heat of the summer?
Yes, yes, I do. And I would absolutely love to tell you which one that one is. It's thin. It's more so like rain gear. Unfortunately, we really don't have a middle level for the women yet. So if the women want something kind of in the middle, you're gonna have to go to the guys, section for that part. But they do. We have some rain gear. It's really light. You can also unzip it from the back, undo it, unzip it from the back, so you don't have to take off all your clothes to use the bathroom. And that is like the best thing
That
ever.
come in handy there, Kiki.
Yeah, I mean, women do use the bathroom also, so it's kind of important that we don't show all of our goodies to everybody. So you just undo it, lean over wherever, and do what you gotta do.
Awesome.
Nobody will ever know because you're not taking off any of your clothes. And now everybody's really quiet.
Awesome.
I am actually shopping FXR right now.
Yeah, he's online. He's putting stuff in the cart. That's what he's doing.
Well, I'm trying to find something in my size that's
Let me know.
Available is S, and I'm a little bit bigger than S. So
Yeah, they may be out of some things, but let me know if you end up needing a coat or anything. So
I'm in the market for both. Very cool stuff. That's interesting.
yeah, it's an awesome brand. So glad to be a part of them. They've done some really amazing things for me. So
I'm just waiting for that owl to swoop down and get your hat, girl.
yeah, I know, right? Look.
That's crazy how it's the only thing that keeps popping on the screen.
Oh, that's funny.
So the reason why we had this on, so my house flooded back in April, towards the end of April, and then it flooded again. So it flooded towards the end of April, and then it flooded again a few weeks later while I think I was at Pickwick or Logan Martin. I don't know. We had moved all of our clothes and everything to the garage, and then the garage ended up flooding. So we ended up losing everything else. So we are still trying to get this house remodeled. So half of it is pretty much done. The other half is not. So, I didn't figure y'all wanted to see that. I don't even like seeing it. I don't like waking up and seeing it. So it's just going really slow. But I'm never here to do it. So that's probably why.
That's what Steven said. You're never there to do it. So
No, I'm literally never here.
you are welcome. Yeah, I'm telling you, we need to rename this one Role Reversal.
Yep.
There it is.
I know.
That's wild.
Like it doesn't look, it cuts off this arm if I try to point. Look. Sorry.
The hoot owl effect. How was Red Crest? Was it busy?
Yeah, it was busy. It was actually pretty dang busy on Saturday. I actually got to speak on stage with the Q&A, and I was supposed to go after Jimmy Houston. Who goes after him? Like, how can you even follow that up? Like, that right there set me up for failure. So he was a little late, and I was really wanting to go fishing. And so I went up there. I said, hey, Jimmy Houston's late. I said, you think I can go in his spot? I really don't want to follow him up. And so I got to go before him. So that, that ended up being pretty good. But I ended up going fishing on a little, I don't even think it's a private lake, but we went fishing somewhere. So, but yeah, it was busy. It was a lot of fun. There was a lot of good vendors there. I think almost every boat brand was there pretty much. I did see a lot of that. Uh-oh, we got a question over there. I got in late. How's the Mega Live 2? So, y'all want me to answer that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mega Live 2 is freaking amazing, dude. It's amazing. I just got it on my boat. I told my husband I was going to go work on it today. Like, I don't know how to work live at all, which it works when I do that. So you may want to try that with your wife. But anyways, went out there and worked on it. The cool thing is that you got the bait tracer, which means you throw your bait out there. It doesn't matter if you're throwing a Cinco out there, a chatterbait, or a minnow. Basically, you're going to have like a pink line that follows it. So you're able to see your bait so much easier. And even the fish, I mean, the fish has kind of a pink line that goes after them too. You can kind of see which direction they're moving in, which direction they're going in. And so I can keep going on forever, but I absolutely love it. So, and I'm not a BS person. Like if it sucks, I'm going to tell you it sucks, but it doesn't suck.
Well,
Compared to active target.
What'd you say?
Compare it to active target.
Oh, it's way better than that. It's way better than that. I will say this, I am Humminbird. I'm on the team Humminbird. And so obviously it's what I absolutely love, but compared to, let's say, Live Scope, I'm going to say it's pretty equivalent because I'm never going to dog anybody, because everybody has some good products and they're going to have good things about that product no matter what. But Mega Live or Humminbird really outdid themselves with the Mega Live 2 this time, because to me, I would put it up against Live Scope any day and be completely happy with it. So, and another cool thing is if you are a Humminbird user, Humminbird Minn Kota user, you can have the one boat network if you have all Humminbird Minn Kota products. So I can deploy my Raptors from anywhere in my boat, anywhere. I can make a waypoint by the pedal of my trolling motor. So, I mean, there's just a lot of cool things that they have done with that to make our lives a lot easier. So, technology can be good. Depends on how you look at it.
I thought Spot Lock was probably the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life.
I still think it's one of the greatest things ever. Hey, go without it for a day.
Yeah.
And then you're right back to it's the best thing they've ever came out with.
There's a handful of technology. I'm just like, wow. I'm still just kind of taken back whenever I get to go and use some of it, just being able to spot lock down, and doesn't matter how windy it is, as long as the boat's not getting swamped, you can just kind of step off the trolling motor and fish, and
oh yeah, for sure.
So much easier.
I know. We've already discovered we're probably around the same age. So I know. So my dad used to throw down an anchor on a rope, and that's how we would spot lock. So,
yep.
I mean, I still will put my rod in the water sometimes to see how deep it is.
We did that an awful lot, and
I still do that.
It sounds crazy, but if we wanted to fish a bank real bad and it was windy, we'd just beach the boat and fish out.
Heck yeah. Why not? It used to work back in the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sounds stupid, but we just beach the boat. We're not going to fight the wind. We just right up around the bank.
The thing is all that stuff still works.
Yeah.
We could still do that to this day and it would be just fine. But we have our electronics and everything to, not have to do that anymore, which is really, really nice. I mean, I think it is. That's why you'll never hear me bash anything with that has to do with our electronics, because I think it's a necessity. It's like I tell people a lot of times, would you have stopped with a bag phone, or do you like your iPhone? I don't think you're going to give up your iPhone. So think about this, where we started from in fishing and look where we are at now. Things evolve. That's how you make money. That's how you make the experience better. And so, I mean, hey, if all y'all want to get rid of all your electronics, get rid of them, go back to the old school ways. But I kind of doubt you're probably not going to do that, because we are all spoiled up until this point.
We are extremely spoiled.
Yeah, we are. I remember the old days very well, like it was yesterday. So
rods and reels, reel technology, more bearings, cast further, smoother. I mean, I just bought Max a bait caster at Bass Pro just the other day, and honestly, I've cranked the spool tension down and set the magnet on 8 or 9, and he's casting pretty darn good. And I'm like,
yeah. So I saw something kind of cool at Red Crest. Cast King was there, and I'm with Art. I absolutely love who I'm with, but they had a reel that will tell you how many casts you have made. I think how many fish you caught, how many times you set your hook. I could be wrong about some of this, but it was extremely smart. like extremely smart. And I was asking them, I'm like, who buys this? Like who are y'all trying to sell this to? Is it the weekend angler? Is it the tournament angler? I mean, because I mean, that's pretty dang smart. But would you want to know how many casts you made that day?
My elbow wants to know how many casts I made that day.
Well, me too. We're old like that, but but honestly, it'd probably be kind of sad because you probably made like, I don't know, let's say 5,500 casts and you caught 10 fish. Think about that. Like you'd be like, why am I doing this? I would be. I know that.
Some of us are happy with 10 fish.
Somebody said some guys who wear the Fitbits. Hey, I'm fine with 10 fish. Let's say, they're all from 5 to 10 pounds. I'm good with that now.
That definitely sounds like somebody that has lived on Sam Rayburn her whole life.
Yeah. Hey, you really want to think that they're everywhere like that, but they're not. They're not everywhere. Matter of fact, I didn't catch one above 3.5 pounds today. Caught a lot of 3-pounders, but did not catch one above that.
Just be thankful you're getting to flip and frog and do all that cool stuff that you said earlier, because I mean, we're still on the verge of, do I take the A-rig and the jerk bait this weekend, or do I just leave it at the house and maybe switch to the wiggle wort kind of deal?
It's out.
So,
A-rig is out of the boat.
The A-rig was out of the boat last weekend for me.
A-rig is out and not coming
I don't even own one. Oh, yeah, I do. Big Daddy sent me one not too long ago, and I haven't used it yet. But it's still in my tackle room. I don't use them. So I've had a lot of surgeries, okay? I think fishing's kind of wore me down. It's not the age, it's the fishing. And anyways, I had to have my whole shoulder redone. And so for me to throw an A-rig is like the most painful thing ever to do ever. So you're not going to see me throwing one.
Yeah.
I like to catch 3 fish at once, but
This neck of the woods up here, you've got a lot of clear Ozark lakes, and Grand has dirty water, but it also has some pretty clean stuff. And sometimes most of the time in the springtime, if you're not throwing it, you better have something else really dialed in to have a chance. I'm not going to say if you're not throwing it, you're going to lose. Some guys do say that, and I find that to be wrong, because I can throw it all day and not catch anything at all.
Yeah.
And I can pick up something else and get a bite. So I haven't won, so don't take that the wrong way either. But
so Harvey Horn is like my brother from another mother. He's the closest thing that I have. Like, I do have a real brother, but I talk to my other brother, Harvey, probably more than I talk to my real brother. He's really good on Grand Lake. And I fished a tournament there with him, and he's like, if we don't throw an A-rig, you're going to lose. And he straight up said it. Yeah. And neither one of us ever threw it, and we did lose. But, neither one of us wanted to ever throw it. But that is what he taught me about those areas up there. It's like, you got to throw them.
It's unfortunately, I still feel, we talked before the show, it took 28 to win the Anglers in Action. And if you get a chance to talk to Big Al, ask him about the Anglers in Action that he's emceed on Grand. There was 14 limits over 20 pounds brought in.
That's crazy.
Me and my team partner got 42nd place with 1677.
That's nuts.
Like, they bombed them. Yeah. We didn't throw the Alabama rig. We usually don't throw the Alabama rig, but we don't catch 28 pounds either.
Is that what they did?
It was a guy that fished by himself, and I've never saw his name before. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't know the guy either.
But it was a big fish day, I can tell you that.
Yeah, it was. There was 18 over 5 pounds weighed in.
Yeah.
Dang, that's awesome.
10 over 6 and 3 over 7.
It's just that time of year where, you could catch them on a big spinner bait. You can catch them on a jig. We talked to some guys, they had 23 pounds and they said all they did all day was just flip a jig behind the docks and on a 200-yard stretch of bank. Just went back and forth. So, I mean, you can do whatever you want, I think, for the most part.
What kind of bank was it? Did they say?
They didn't say. I'm assuming from what I've gathered down there the last couple of days is it probably had a little bit of a gentle slope to it, not super flat, but not super deep. I think it's probably had a gentle slope, and I'm assuming that it was leading into a pocket.
Uh-huh.
But
Yeah. I just want to go partake in some of that if I can, like tomorrow.
Hey, so do I.
Like tomorrow.
The problem with it was, like for us, Stephanie, have you guys been getting a bunch of rain?
Oh, heck yeah, we have been.
We got a ton of rain the day before the tournament and the day of, and it was a cold rain. And the backs of the pockets that had the males, they started getting really dirty, and the cold water kind of started coming into those backs of those pockets. So it's backing those fish up a little bit, which is fine. But 2 weeks ago, the males were in the backs, like up lake, and they were ready to go,
This weather has just been, there it goes again. This weather's just been crazy. Like, I've never seen a year like this before. Is our fish they keep trying to come up and spawn, but as soon as they do, it's like this morning was 40 degrees. We've had all this rain, and I mean, our water on Main Lake right now is still only 62 degrees. That's crazy where I live. It's nuts to me. So, I mean, I really haven't seen just a full blown spawn yet, but also I'm not here enough to see it, but it's just kind of how it rolls sometimes.
John, you lived on Gunnersville for a while. Were you surprised on how Red Crest was won?
Not with the weather, no. If the weather hadn't come through like it did, it wouldn't have been one like that. It would have been, if the weather hadn't come through, Chris Lane would have won that tournament. No doubt in my mind. Chris or Bobby.
Yeah, they were both up there.
Would have won that tournament if the weather hadn't come through. But that doesn't surprise me how he caught him, how him and Wesley caught him at all. At all.
And that's
so what do y'all think about like MLF, for the BPT, they can only use their forward facing sonar for what is it? It's not called a quarter, it's called something. Period. There we go. Are y'all enjoying that a little bit more?
Yes.
Yeah, me too.
Absolutely. I think for the fan, and we've said this on the show before, there's 3 leagues. They've all got what they wanted to do. You can watch whichever league you like. I personally think MLF did it the best.
Yeah.
Even though I'm not a scoper and I enjoy watching NPFL and old school or just fishing derbies. But I understand that that's also not for everybody. And I think MLF did it correctly. And I think Bass will do the same thing eventually.
Oh, yeah. What's so cool about it is, there's so many options now. Like, it's not just bass anymore. You have other options, which I think is really neat because it's whatever style you want to be, however you want to fish is what you got now. You want a combination, go to MLF. You want to scope, go to bass. If you don't want anything to do with any of it, then go to the NPFL.
Yeah.
There's something for everybody now. So.
Except for the old timers. We still need an old timer league. That's like.
What would if you could do that, what would the age group be? Would you let 40 on up, 40 plus?
No, I'd probably do it like golf. I'd probably say 50 would be the senior tour. 50 and up.
So 50's, hey, you hear that, Stephen? 50 is considered senior now.
Well, it is
I had
in golf. It is in golf. It is in golf.
I had to say it. I mean, I've been saying it for years that he's a senior. He's been a senior for a while now,
Yeah.
but he doesn't want to listen to that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't blame you.
I'm sorry. I'm
SFL.
sorry. I don't mean, I'm not talking about y'all. To me, you're
No,
probably 35, right,
I'm
Danny?
10 years past that.
Well, I didn't think that.
Almost. I'll be 10
Hey, you
years
should at least
past.
let the 40-year-olds in.
Hmm?
You should at least let the 40-year-olds in because we're probably the
No.
last generation that did it old school.
That's like youngsters to us.
Well,
me and
maybe
Danny.
so. You're like old enough to be my dad, right?
Probably.
I'm messing with you.
How old are you? I'm old enough to be Kiki's dad, so yes.
I am 43.
I'm old enough to be your dad. If
Oh,
I had
really?
if I had a kid when I was 17.
This conversation went a different way.
Wow.
Tailgate of a truck drinking beer, Stephanie. Just keep that in mind.
Man.
Oh my.
Where were we? I'm sorry.
I did not know you were a teenage father, John Stewart.
Well, now you know.
I had my first one when I was 21.
Same.
I was 23.
Mm-hmm.
Do your kids fish?
Do my fish?
Mm-hmm.
No. They hate it.
They golf.
No.
They don't golf.
No. My youngest can name any fish in the ocean, in the lake. He absolutely loves to catch them like in a net. He's 14 and he absolutely loves that type of stuff, but he does not want to fish. He likes sports, but he just doesn't like it. His dad is a professional angler, which we won't talk about him on here. But, and then obviously I do what I do. And then my oldest, you know, I took him with me so much. I used to be a realtor back in the day. I think every woman has been a realtor at one point in time. I really do believe that. Like, you probably know a lot of realtors, right? And they were like a realtor for like 2 years. That was me. But anyways, so I had it to where I'd go work in the morning all the way up until noon, and then I would go fishing from noon to dark. So I took my oldest with me every single time I ever went. And poor kid, like, he was so good at it, but I pushed him so hard because everybody wants that little mini me to go fishing with them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you want your children to love what you love, but the more you push them, sometimes that pushes them in the opposite direction. And I learned that the hard way. Can't even get him to get in the boat with me now. And he's one of the best fishermen I know.
Yeah.
Wow.
Same.
Yeah. You got to let them. I learned that lesson too. My kids, one of them likes to fish, but he's not a eat up with it like I am or was. And my daughter never was eat up with it. She doesn't. She does her own. She's kind of a free spirit. I'll just leave it at that. She's probably watching, so I got to be careful what I say.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with free spirits.
She's definitely a free spirit, does her own thing, which I think she gets from me. She won't admit that. Now I'm really in trouble if she's watching. So, but
She's done well for herself. She's doing fine.
well, she's done great for herself.
Mm-hmm.
But my grandkids, I'm handling them totally different because they like my granddaughter loves to fish, but she's getting that age, like she's 10, 11. And so we've been doing this week-long fishing trip together in the summer. Like, she plays softball and all the sports, so it's hard to fit it in. But she only gets to fish when Grandpa takes her. They don't have a boat. They have a pontoon, but they go to the lake a lot, but they don't fish. So we do this week-long fishing trip. And last year we turned it into, I wasn't sure if she wanted to do it last year. So we made it a competition. We turned it into a 100-fish challenge. So I went up there. She lives in Iowa. So we went up there and we went to a bunch of different lakes and we tried to catch 100 fish in that week's time, or in that 4 days or 5 days, whatever we did. And I took her like 3 days, and then I took my grandson, who's 6, one day on the final day. And it was cool. But, she's getting at that age where she's, becoming a young lady. And I'm like, how much longer is she going to want to do this? And I asked her the other day, and you also got to watch her. When you ask her something, you can't just take what she says, because she's too smart. She'll say she doesn't want to hurt your feelings, right? So I asked her the other day if we were going to do our 100. It's 103 because we caught 103 last year. So it's a 103 fish challenge this year. And she was all in. She's like, and you could tell it was genuine. Like, she still wants to do it, which made me super happy. So I think we're going to go to Minnesota this year, though, and do it.
My dad and I are trying to plan a trip to Canada. Him and my papa would take a trip to Canada every single year. They would take a flight there to Canada. Then they would take out, they got a helicopter into the lake that they were going to be staying in. You don't have any electricity, nothing like that. They have a boat there for you, and you go catch hundreds of fish every single day. Sounds like a dream to me.
Yeah.
Not to have a phone or TV or anything. Yeah, I think it'd be a lot of fun.
That's the only thing I'm worried about going to Minnesota, because if we go up there, I think we'll catch 103 fish in a couple days.
Yeah.
And so then we're going to set that bar really high for the next several years. That's cool.
Well, good luck. That sounds awesome.
I don't know what you all have asked her, so that's why I'm kind of not.
We've been all over the place.
I know.
It's been a really enjoyable conversation, to be honest with you.
Do y'all want me to answer that question that's over there?
Absolutely.
Talk a little bit about Bassmast Her program of Bass. I am not a part of Bassmast Her, but I do appreciate everything that they're doing in trying to bring more women to the sport of bass fishing. Not necessarily tournament angling, just trying to bring women into the world of fishing. And they have really good seminars. They teach a lot of women a lot of good things, and definitely look up to the 3 women that do that. It's very nice that what they're doing. So
yeah, that's a cool deal.
I think that pretty much answers that. So
Richard's my dude. I screwed up here the other day and did not mention him in a Facebook post, but he tied up some custom spinner baits. He does jigs, spinner baits.
Oh wow.
He's kind of a tackle tinkerer. He's got some really cool stuff, but he tied up some big spinner baits here a while back, and we caught a couple of really nice fish on him the other day down at Grand. So shout out to Richard Fitzwater Custom Lures, my dude from Parsons.
Somebody's asking what's my favorite lure to throw. That's a really hard one, because as the years go, it kind of changes. And I said this the other day, I really don't have a favorite anymore. It's what is needed at the time. Although I absolutely love a topwater bite. Frog, it's hard to beat a frog. It's really hard to beat that. But unfortunately, a frog's not good all times of year, not where I'm at anyways. So it just depends. But probably anything that has to do with topwater, most likely. Because there's nothing better than a big blow up. So
Amen.
Yeah. That's like, top. That had to be top 2 and things I enjoy.
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah,
So,
I used to have, I don't really have a favorite either. I think I get caught on, I don't want to say in a rut, but I just get to where I'm catching a lot of fish on one certain thing, like a tube, and I'll stick with it.
yeah,
But it might change. You know,
exactly. I
2 years
mean,
ago, I caught thousands of fish on a Fritz Side 5. Just, it was my confidence lure. And then the last couple years, it's been a tube. And then back in the day, it was I remember going to Big Hill and here at Grand catching them on a flat A. I love the flat A.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Now I got to
Right
dig
now,
that box out. Thanks.
hey, right now it's a pre-wrap wigglewort, boys and girls.
hard to
Mhm.
beat a wiggle
Carolina
work.
rig.
So that's
Yeah,
something I do not like to throw. That's like the least, like
people
that's
don't-
on the bottom of the list for me.
People don't like to throw it.
That's a
No, I might
surprise.
as well let
Man, you
paint
better-
dry.
That's a kind of a surprise you don't like the ball and chain being on Sam Rayburn. It's an
No,
offshore
no, I
lake. I'm
gave that
surprised.
up back in 2010. Never went back.
Mm.
Like if you see me pick up one, I'm in real bad shape. I'll pick up anything for that.
Interesting.
I
See,
do not like it. I really can't. I don't know if it's just so slow that because I love a shaky head. A shaky head probably is on up there in my top 3. I love it. I can do anything with a shaky head. I can throw it in a brush pile, around rocks, wherever, and they're gonna bite it. I think
Mhm.
that's probably what took the place of my Carolina rig, although they're different, but they're both slow. But it's kind of like I say, things kind of evolved a little bit. Before that, it was a jig. I used to use a jig all the time. I don't know how many 9-pounders and 10-pounders I have off the dang jig. Every big fish I ever caught up until recently, I had one on 10-pound braid to 7-pound fluoro using a jerk shad, a Z-Man jerk shad out of a brush pile, and it was 9 pounds. First one I ever caught with such light line like that on a jerk shad in 30 foot of water. And so let me tell you, that was a battle getting her up now. And then come to find out, so I get her in and I tell my friend to record. She thought she was recording, didn't hit the record button, so I don't have any of it. I have a picture.
Yeah, I hate it when that happens.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Man.
You just have to figure out a way to duplicate it.
Yeah, that's probably never going to happen. Not in that way ever again. Because where that 9-pounder came from, there was 5 to 6 more of her, just like her right there. So when I dangled this jerk shad above it, they all just came out. It was just who was going to get it first. And let me tell you, the excitement that I had was just unreal. Whoever gets tired of catching 9-pounders or even freaking a 5-pounder, I get just excited about a 5-pounder as I do a double digit. So,
Mhm.
heck, I even kissed the 6-inchers. So I do. Hey, we got to catch those too, because you got to understand one thing. We got to teach them how not to bite again so they can get big.
Mm.
So you got to teach them a lesson. Catch them, give them a little kiss, tell them not to bite again, and send them on their merry little way.
Makes sense. Makes
Yep,
sense.
it's just my idea. I know it really doesn't work that way.
Did you talk to Jimmy about that at Redcrest?
What did you say?
Did you talk to Jimmy about that at
No.
Redcrest?
No.
He kisses them all.
I kiss a lot of the fish. I'm not gonna lie, I do. Have little chit chats with them.
When you're fishing NPFL, no scoping.
Yep.
What speed is your trolling motor on?
All depends on what I'm doing, but it definitely slowed down a lot. So MLF, I'm on 10, at least for one day, 10. So that's another thing. If you guys ever come fishing with me, you want to come down to Sam Rayburn, whatever, just hold. You may want a chair because I'm usually on 10. That's just how it goes. I have the Minn Kota Quest, which runs like 4.5 miles per hour. So that's how fast we're going to be going, just FYI. And I may throw you out. But with the MPFL, that's not having forward-facing sonar, yeah, you slow down a lot because I need my 360 to work for me, as I talked earlier. You know, one of my mini tools I have in my boat that I honestly do not ever want to go without. So we were at it was our first event, I guess, Santee Cooper. And day one, like I wasn't on anything at Santee Cooper. Like I straight up made a video. Like I didn't catch anything during practice. I called a 7-pounder, but I didn't know that was ever going to amount to anything. And I was just kind of lost. I mean, when you're so used to using your forward-facing sonar, you know, that speeds up the process. People don't understand how much that speeds up the process. You may not be throwing at particular fish, but it helps you find the fish, right? Helps you find them. You're able to go around these trees and, okay, there's fish on this tree, fish on this tree. But without it, you're literally having to fish, which I'm perfectly fine with. But so day one, I think I had 3 fish for, I think 11 pounds is what I had. But day 2, I had 4 fish for 18.5 pounds. And the only thing I was not doing, this is where the 7-pounder came from, is I didn't correct myself on day 1. I knew the fish were there, but I could never figure out how they were sitting because I'm not wild about side scanning over a spot because I'm not necessarily sure some of those fish don't leave sometimes when you do that. You know, I kind of think they do a lot of times. So if I know that they're there, I'll go ahead and just drop my trolling motor and try to figure out where they're at, you know, according to my 360. Well, I was setting up wrong. So on day 2, something that my roommate said there cued me into how he was catching fish. And I was like, heck, I think I'm setting up wrong. And sure enough, I changed the way that I was sitting and I was fishing more so offshore out towards Main Lake. And that worked for me. And on top of that, I lost one that was, if it wasn't a double digit, it was pretty dang close to it on a chatterbait. Had her right up to the boat and she freaking shook and got off. And so I should have had close to 30 pounds, probably 20, 29 pounds that day. And I let my buddy come sit with me when I only had 3 fish and he caught a 7.5 pounder off my spot. Also, I've learned lessons. You know, I'm glad he did that because that was his only fish that day. But, you know, but just think about it. You know, you have 14.5 pounds sitting there and then your buddy comes and catches a 7.5 pounder right there, right beside you. It was kind of a, you know, a little moment, but, you know, that's just how I am though. I don't think I'm against any of my competitors. I'm against the situation that I'm in, you know, the fish, you know, the wind, rain, whatever is happening at the moment. That's what I'm against. I'm not against this person over here. Somebody may come get in my spot, not be able to catch any fish, and then somebody may come over there and teach me how to catch 30. You never know.
Do you share info with like your roommate? When do you fish like a team? I mean, there's a lot of that going on. There's a lot of that going on.
Yeah, we do. You know, it's been a little harder for me throughout the years. Like, you know, I really hate to ever say gender kind of makes a difference, but I think a lot of the guys don't ever know what to think about a woman coming in. They don't know how to speak to her. They don't know what to think until they get to know her and say, hey, I'm just one of you guys. I just want to fish just like y'all. That's all I'm here to do is fish. This is all I've ever wanted. This is it. And so, but a lot of guys don't figure that out very quick. So sharing information is really not a thing. I mean, with my roommate, we do share. But at the same time, what may work good for him may not work good for me. I'm not going to sit here and pick up a bait that I'm not familiar with and expect to go jack them because that may not be my style. You know, just like I said earlier, you know, Steven may be in the back of my boat throwing something he saw up in freaking Canada being thrown on Sam Rayburn. Doesn't mean it's going to work on Sam Rayburn. So, you know, you kind of got to know where your limits are and you got to make something work for you, something that you're comfortable. Like, don't pick up something that you don't know on a tournament day. Use something that you're comfortable with. I love a shaky head. That is my confidence. I know I can catch fish on it any time of the year with that. If all else fails, I can pick that up and I know I can catch fish. So that's what I'm going to do. So figure out where your confidence lies and do that. I think too many of us try to do so many things that we shouldn't even be doing. When honestly, fishing is so much simpler than that.
Yep. I try not to. I never have been a doc talk guy. I try to avoid it because it just, I mean,
Yeah.
I talk to Kiki and Moody because I trust what they say. That's about it. And I'm only asking them like I just asked him a little bit ago. Was it a steep bank or not? That's it. And then I'm going to take it from there and try to, find something that's in the right area if I go tomorrow, something like that. But I'm not asking him I didn't ask him what part of the lake they were in. I didn't ask him any of that. And I feel like it just messes with my head if I don't, uh, if I listen to what guys said. On the other hand, I sometimes think it messes with other guys' head when I tell them exactly everything I'm doing and they can't do it. So, it's like,
You have to know like where to draw that line at.
Yeah.
I'm pretty good about not going to hang out with people like before tournament day or something like that. You just kind of keep it just friend talk versus any type of fishing talk. And kind of got to know where to draw that line and what to take from the conversation, because just because somebody says something doesn't mean you need to take it for all it's worth, because we all know we're fishermen and we lie about the size of everything. So
that's right.
I
Speaking of
mean,
that, when you're standing in line, with your bag in the tank, and somebody asks you, how much do you have?
oh, I'm truthful about that because I already know.
Are you like right on the dot? Or
I'm usually pretty dang close with an ounces.
so if you have 17 pounds, you're going to say 17 pounds.
Oh yeah. So that was something I learned actually my rookie year of the NPFL. So that seventh place finish I had at Eufaula, Oklahoma, my scale was off. I didn't even realize it was off. I mean, I had no idea. And so everything was weighing way heavier. So I went back in and started correcting it because I was like, this couldn't be this. So they had me down for so much more weight, but it was a legit, I didn't mean to do it. Right. And so ever since then, I have a new Bubba scale now. I can say that much. And I will never let that happen again. I will go light on everything if I have to, but never too heavy. I'd rather be very much surprised versus, oh, well, she just embellished on all that, Yeah, that's not me. And like, if it happens, it's by a complete accident, if it does.
Keyword
So it
is
is what it is, man. I'll go ahead and tell you right now. I'm not going to say who it was, but I made a bet with somebody at the last invitational at Hartwell, and whoever had the smallest bag, they got a steak bought for them. So I'm getting a steak bought for me. Is the smallest 5-fish limit, not through the whole tournament, but between me and this dude. He could have swore his was smaller. So he owes me a steak now. A little side bet thing going on. Who thought you would get something for smallest bag?
Brandon Pedigo owes me a steak dinner for the smallest bag between the two of us at the Bass Nation Regional last year.
Yeah, so it made you
we
feel
were
good,
standing
huh?
in line, and he's like, I got the smallest bag. I said, no, you don't. I do. He said, let's bet. And I bet. And I was right. And he never paid up. So
Something
Brandon,
about like when I went to this
if you're
year,
listening, you owe me a steak.
when I went into this year, and I knew I was doing as much as I am doing, the one thing I had to say about it, I love goals, right? But I like goals that I can actually meet, not stupid goals like I want to catch a 16 pounder. But anyways, no, like goals like, hey, I want to catch a limit every day of a tournament. Doesn't matter what size that limit is, but as long as you catch a limit every single day of the tournament, that's you're improving, right? It will come on finding those bigger fish. Hartwell, I was not on big fish. I knew I wasn't. I knew I just had to go survive, which is what I did. I caught my limits, but they just were tiny fish. That's just what happened to eat at the moment, but
that's the difference between me and a professional. Her goal is to catch 5. My goals are to catch 1, then 5, then a 5. And I figure if I can do that, catch 1, then catch 5, then one of them be a 5-pounder, I'm usually going to be pretty good in a tournament.
But you got to think about this, though, where we're going to be different is I'm the only woman that fishes the invitationals and the NPFL, and with the longest name, like the alphabet, right? So all you have to do is go look for my name. And it's always, let's go look for the only chick. Oh, I bet she's in last. So as long as you're catching a limit every day, you're not going to be in last. There's always going to be people that do worse than you, or you think there will be. Hey, I've been in last before. I know how that feels. It freaking sucks. It stings. I don't know if y'all got spankings as a child, but I know my mom would say, hey, you're in trouble. You know, when your dad gets home, you're getting the belt. You know what happens all day long when you're thinking about that? I'm not even going to say it on air, but your butt tightens up a little bit, okay? And that's all you think about all day long, right? Well, that's how you feel when you come like dead last, okay? You're parking up and putting your head down and not wanting to talk to anybody. You're like, I'm the only girl out here and I'm in last place, you know, and it really gets to your head and you really want to quit and you want that to be your last tournament. But you know it's not going to be that way forever. There's certain lakes that's not going to fit your style. Bottom line, it just, no matter what you do, you may suck. And if that's the case, that's the case. But you will find a lake that really suits you eventually.
There's really in the sport of bass fishing, in my opinion, there's really no room for pity parties either.
No,
because it's kind of an individual sport for the most part. I mean, the tournaments that I fish a lot of team events, but I'm the same way. Like, get your butt kicked a time or two. It is what I mean. You can't do anything about it. You just gotta look ahead and keep going, right?
Yeah.
You know?
It stings. I allow myself to be angry or mad just for a little bit. You know, I'm not a crier or anything like that. Not usually. If I cry, you better run because it's probably going to be real bad for everybody. But, you know, I have to get over it because I know right around the corner, possibly the next day, I start practice for my next event. And so you almost have to have instant amnesia because if you carry that on to the next lake, it's not good. You got to have that positive, I really hate to say this, G-Man, but positive mental attitude. It is a thing that you really do need, but I think it's very healthy to be angry at yourself too. Because if you're not angry, you don't care about what you're doing.
Yeah.
Bottom line. You don't want to be better. You don't care about what you're doing. You got to be a little angry. I'm not talking about cussing people out angry. I'm just talking about like, I made some stupid decisions. I don't need to do that next time. Let's correct it. Let's move forward. Let's do better. And that's all I'm talking about. But, you know, I just think that's important.
I don't know if you're like this, but I when I fish a tournament, if I lose or get whooped or come in second or whatever it is, but I feel like I fished good all day and I made good decisions, whatever, I'm okay. But if
Me too.
But I can get second in a tournament or last in a tournament, and if I was in the tree all day and 500,000 backlashes and broke a rod and just
Fishing
bad decisions, I'm pissed off for a day or so about that because I just didn't fish good.
We're going to have those times, though. I mean, we're not all going to be on top of our game every single time that we go out. We wish that we could be, but unfortunately, like I said, we're trying to catch something that has a brain, and it's crazy to even think about that, really. So we can't be too hard on ourselves because you may come in last one tournament, next tournament you may win, and nobody's ever going to remember the last place.
That's right.
But they're only going to talk about the win for about a week until the next person wins, and you're already forgotten about again. So unfortunately, that's just how it goes in this sport of fishing. So.
Craziest thing you've ever seen on screen?
Craziest thing I've ever seen on the screen. I've seen a truck. I get an alligator laying like on 15 foot of water on the bottom. I've seen that. I've seen that several times on Rayburn. And that's not even really crazy anymore, but some it probably would be.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my. And there's our first awkward silence.
Yeah.
I was waiting for your second question.
Well,
Did you already talk about it?
no. We each have certain questions that we ask every single guest, just for fun. So as you mentioned, you like to get an Airbnb. So obviously you're dragging your own boat, you're going down the interstate. When you're traveling and you see that billboard on the side of the interstate, where do you have to stop? You can't pass it. You've got to go there.
Oh, Bucky's.
There we go. Okay.
It's the best bathroom that you can even find. Oh, one more. So, okay. Going to Florida, they got something called a racetrack. Okay. A racetrack. They have I call it the wall of ice cream. I think it's yogurt, but it's literally a wall of ice cream. You can put any topping on it. I will stop at every single one I see. I don't care if I get one cone or I get 10. I may have 10 a day. Who knows? But every racetrack I'm stopping.
Cool.
Yeah. The bathrooms aren't good there. So if you're hearing me, don't go to that bathroom, but you can get the ice cream. It kind of makes me wonder, though, how long that ice cream's been in there if the bathroom looks like that, though. Never thought. It obviously has been okay because, I've eaten a lot of it. But
So
yeah, Bucky's 1,000%. Like, I think we all go in there in one of those stalls and sit down and get on our phones for about 45 minutes just because it's so comfortable.
I mean, personally, the music's nice.
Yeah, true. Who knows? I don't know. It's just really cool. I like it.
So have y'all heard Mercer's bathroom stop?
No, I don't guess I have.
And it's brilliant. And it doesn't surprise me that Mercer, if he's driving,
Oh, I remember.
he has to use the restroom, he pulls off the highway and pulls in like a Hilton Garden Inn or a Hampton and just parks and walks in like he's a guest and uses the clean bathroom.
I may start trying that.
I remember talking to him, and he said that was hilarious.
It's brilliant.
It is brilliant.
Yeah, so not that y'all need to know this, but I'll go ahead and embarrass myself just a little bit more. And everybody has to use the bathroom when you're in the boat. It's a little bit more difficult for a woman, but I have a fireball bucket with dude wipes. And do not use the one that's mint, ladies. Don't use it. I've learned for us all. But the fireball bucket works. And the first person that tries to use my live wells for a bathroom, you're kicked out of the boat.
So is that why Nick Brown messaged me and wanted me to ask you about a fireball shot?
Oh God. No, that's probably something. Oh God. That's something else. That's something else. The other anglers like to put me in situation. I'm just gonna say that they know I'm competition, so they want to go ahead and just, get me down where I can't compete, right? That's all we're gonna say about that. We went to music bingo, and I do not remember the music bingo. But I played it.
And you had some fireball, apparently.
And so it was a big joke at the tournament that we all had a really good time, especially me, for whatever reason.
That's
hey,
right.
that is the only time in all these years.
I've never heard of music bingo.
Yeah, me either until then. And I barely even remember it. I don't even remember the first song.
Is it like you got to name the song or something kind of deal?
Yeah, it's like bingo. It has the squares and has the person. I think it was what the song was called. I think in the square. I think
it's got the name of the song in the square, or
something like that.
or the artist.
Yeah.
Sometimes
So I mean,
they
Interesting.
play it, and you got your card. And
it was
You
a
got
good
that?
time, I guess.
Sounds like fun to me.
I guess it. Yeah, I guess it was. Yeah. So I can even make this worse. Well, maybe I shouldn't make it worse because I don't know what any of these people listening are going to think right now. No telling. So that next morning, because I'm leaving out a whole lot right there. We'll just leave that there. So the next morning, I always drive to boat ramp. Always. I drive everywhere. If it's a 24-hour drive, I'm going to be driving it. Well, this particular morning, I told my husband, I was like, "You're going to have to drive." He said, "Do what?" I was like, "I can't drive." I said, "That coffee was not going down very good." Well, we have to pull over, and one thing leads to another, and I end up in the field, and Kyle Welcher stops to ask, "Hey, are you okay?" And I was like, "There is nothing to see here. Move on." Nothing to see. So obviously, a lot of people saw, even though I said there was nothing to see. So yeah, so it's a real big joke now.
Hey, we've all had those days.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we all don't admit it on a podcast now, do we?
We've all
Just me.
had those days.
I'm the only human one here.
Mm,
I told y'all nothing's off limits.
We've all ended up in the timber a time or two.
Oh,
Maybe a
my.
cornfield.
So I'll tell you one so you don't feel so bad.
Okay, good, because I'm kind of, pretty low right this second.
And Steven says those weather days get you every time. Well,
Yeah,
this
well,
is
that's what it was a weather day.
yeah, this
Like,
is kind
it
of
was
a
a
weather
weather
day.
day. So we get together with our buddies.
Yeah.
And what do you do on the day that you can't fish? Can't even be near the water. Well, let's go play music bingo. It's a great idea.
Yeah. So we I had a back-to-back nation regional. The first one was at Chesapeake, and the next one was at Champlain. So we didn't have that far to go. So the tournament ends on Friday at Chesapeake. We don't have to set up at Champlain till Monday. So we drive up Saturday, get to, we were actually on the Vermont side. We get up there on Saturday. And so we've got Saturday night, Sunday night, Monday before we have to set up. So the crew, we're like, some local friends of ours were there, and they're like, "Let's go to this hamburger joint bar type place." And so we go and have some great hamburgers, and we just decide, and we start drinking, and we closed that place down. We drank like all their Guinness. We drank like a bunch of shots, and somewhere there's pictures of me and like those neon light things that like made
Glow
into
stick.
a crown, glow sticks, all kinds of stuff. And
I will pay cash money for these pictures.
we close that place down, and we're so I don't know, Matt, Dan, if you remember Max. Max was one of our lead guys, but he didn't drink, and he had just gotten married. So his wife is back in Alabama, and Max didn't drink. So I asked Max to go with us. We're not going to be out that late, Max. We're not going to be out that late to be our designated driver. Well, we closed the bar down, and then Max is driving us around, and we're on the way back, and we're in a Bass Toyota. Max is driving, and I'm in the back seat with Ben Ashby, Eric Nichols, and me, and then somebody else is in the front with Max. I'm sitting by the door and it's coming up.
Oh no.
I'm like, pull over, Max, pull over. And so he pulls over. I bail. I open the door just in time. Well, it's chain reaction. Like I'm puking in the yard, somebody's yard. Ben bails out. He's puking. Eric bails out. He's puking. The yard is the police station.
Oh wow. Yeah, I don't think anybody can beat that story.
We don't get, nobody comes out from the police station. It's a small town. Nobody comes there. I don't even know if anybody was there. Go back to the motel, help each other to our rooms, and we all just recovered on Sunday. That was
See, I didn't get to recover. You know what I had to do? I had to fish the next day. Do you know how that day went? Absolutely horrible.
I'm sure.
Hey, leaning over the side of my boat was not my plan all day. So listen, so I get up the river. I found all these fish up the river, okay? I found some good fish. Well, that got blown out because we had a weather day before that we had 45-mile-per-hour winds. So I get up there, I'm like, crap, it's blown out. Well, I'm still going to flip. But I can barely hold my head up. I think I catch a few right off the bat. I had to leave there. Well, I finally start getting hungry. And I love Uncrustables, okay? I got to have Uncrustables in my boat. It's just how it is, right? Well, unfortunately, somebody had put them in the freezer, and it was cold that morning. So they were still cold at lunch. So I laid them both out very nicely in the middle. But I take off, and I forget they're even there. And guess what? There goes my lunch also. So not only do I feel like absolute hammered, you know what? I didn't even get to eat. I'm telling you, I really thought about like getting off the water that day. Like anything would have been better than what I was experiencing. That's why I'll never do it again. Ever. I still feel it. Like I think it lingers with me. I've been right since. As y'all can tell.
Oh no.
That's the only.
You're still traumatized.
I'm still traumatized.
That's the only bonus of between you and me. You're being an angler versus a tournament director. I can kind of fake my way through it.
Yeah.
Like
there was no faking it that day.
mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, I never even went back and watched that footage for that day. I didn't want to see it. But hey, it would have gone viral. Most definitely would have gone viral. Because I'm telling you, I laid down on the front of my deck that day. Never have done it during the tournament. You gotta think how much money we spend for one tournament. I'm laying down on the front of my deck like, God, it's my time, right? Like I promise, it's my time. I know it. Like it does anything to get me off of that boat. That's the one time I did not want to be out there. Oh, and I was in a tornado at Saginaw Bay too. That's a whole nother situation. We've already been on here 2 hours.
We have.
Sorry about that, y'all. Y'all may not plan for a 2-hour show, but
oh no, that's normal. That's normal for us. We get to go in and we just, a lot of times we don't even hardly talk fishing and we just talk stories and,
Well, I almost died at Saginaw Bay if y'all want to hear that one. It's a real bad one. I'll try to keep it like 5 minutes or less. Try to.
Let her fly.
Okay. You owe Zach payback. Oh, most definitely. Yes, I do. Zach Bird. Yeah, that's who he's talking about. Anyways, he was part of that. He was a part of that whole situation that we're not going to speak about after this time we get off here. But anyway, beside the point. So we're at Saginaw Bay, and I do have a couple people I share info with on the NPFL and that I really look up to. But me and Mike Como was in the same area. I had to get off the water and go grab some oil for my motor and whatnot. And I get back on and find out where he's at, and I put in there. And I go over to talk to him. I look up. I'm like, man, those clouds sure are dark. Like, and I was like, is it going to rain? Like, what's going to happen? He's like, I think it's just some rain. I don't think it's any kind of storm. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go on. So I went on past him on down. And next thing I know, I'm hearing tornado sirens. And I was like, I did not know tornado sirens were, I didn't know they had tornadoes up there. Like, I had no idea. And so I put on my rain gear real quick and put on my life jacket. And I go to take off. Well, where I was at, it was, as you know, Saginaw Bay is pretty shallow in a lot of areas, you know, and I think I was in 1.5 feet of water. I had to take off in that. I had to go around this really long, big point, you know, and next thing I know, there's 6-foot swells out in 1.5 feet of water. That's the craziest thing you will ever see. It was nuts. Then the next thing I know, I'm trying to go around this point, which I should have just went across it because that's what Mike ended up doing. But next thing I know, it just gets white around me, like white, and I'm spinning. And I can't get out of it. The only thing that got me out of it is my mercury, for one. I pushed myself out. And there is a picture on my Facebook page of what my prop ended up looking like. But, you know, my hummingbird, it couldn't find me. It was just spinning. The only way I knew how to get back was because I knew the wind was coming the direction I needed to go in. And so I basically walked it is what I did. So you go up 6 foot and then you get pounded on the ground. And so you have to walk it. And then I ran into a deep V boat. It was a tracker. This lady was screaming and crying and her husband was frantic. And they were like, help me. I'm like, I need help too. Like, I can't help y'all. I said, y'all need to move. Like, you got to keep moving because otherwise you're going to sink your boat. And so everything was floating in my boat. My phone was ruined, just everything. But, you know, it literally was probably the scariest moment of my life. I've always played around a little bit with the weather. Like, I got 5 more minutes. I got 5 more minutes. How many of us do that? I didn't have 5 more minutes. You know, it hit Mike first. It hit me. Then it hit that tracker. And it took me a long time to get back in, but I was able to get back in, which I'm so thankful for. And we were actually hit by, I guess it wouldn't have been a tornado at the moment. It's over water, but what is that called? A water spout?
Mm-hmm.
We were actually hit by a water spout, all 3 of us. And so it was crazy. After we loaded up our boats, I didn't cry until I got on the phone with my dad. And then I just let loose because I could not believe what had just happened. Just to be here through that, a lot of people wouldn't be here to talk about it. But I'm telling you what, the good Lord and I know each other very well now because that's who you talk to when it's all happening, you know, and he definitely saved me. So take that weather seriously, especially when you're on a big body of water like that, because it can go to 0 to 100 very quickly.
Yeah.
What kind of boat were you in?
I was in my Phoenix, still the same one, 921 Elite 2. So, and it was completely full. Like, I mean, everything was floating. It was so nuts. Like, it really was. But I pushed myself out, and that's why I'm so thankful for, you know, my dad teaching me everything that I know up to this point. He taught me how to drive a boat. He taught me what to do when the waves are coming a certain direction and, you know, how to keep moving. Because if you don't, you're going to go down. It's just how it is. You got to keep moving. At least walk it out. You know, you're going to take some, you know, waves over the front, and that's okay. They're meant to float. That's why we have pumps. Just keep moving. Just don't sit there and just, oh, help me. You got to do something.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. But it was probably that was the scariest moment I've ever had on the water to this day, and totally changed my perspective on, you know, bad weather on a lake and to take it seriously. Because let me tell you, that's the real deal when a tornado's coming at you.
Yes.
Hey, I still have nightmares over that. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to pretend to be big because it was scary. So, see, that only took 5 minutes. Look, I still have 30 more seconds.
You're good.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, John knows. He turned us loose he cut us loose at Toledo Bend that one year, and I ran from Cypress all the way to 6 Mile, and
oh wow,
it was nasty.
It was a little windy.
Yeah.
See, I'm used to big water though, like, you know, because being, you know, from Sam Rayburn, and I fish Toledo also. Like, I'm used to rough water, but there's something about that water that is shallow and all of a sudden will be nothing and 6-foot swells the next. There's something to say about that, because that's just a whole different beast. It's not, getting a good speed and getting on top of the waves. No, there's no such thing as that. You'll be in between a wave and you can't even see the boat in front of you. Like, it's freaking crazy. You can see the ground in between the waves. So I don't know. It's crazy. It's definitely experiences for sure.
You're extremely fortunate you got out of that without
the
motor getting tore off or something crazier happening.
Mike and I were so at all with what happened. And see, my motor was messed up after that. So everything I practiced at Saginaw Bay, I was going up a long ways and I found really good fish. I couldn't do that after that. My motor was messed up. So I had to stick in the river, which I couldn't have been. I was the happiest person ever. I could care less if I came in last or what happened, because guess what? I was at least still able to fish that next day, and we're fishermen. We got to make whatever work for us that we have at the moment. And so I ended up doing pretty well on day 2 and day 3. Took me a second because I didn't fish the river, at all during practice. So I had to figure it out on day 1. But either way, I feel like God has a plan because I'm still here. I think my biggest fear is to drown. Literally. I don't ever want to drown. And I don't think anybody does, but that's probably my biggest. And so, that was probably the closest I've ever been to that. Thinking that I was going to drown. I'm like, nobody will ever find me here. My phones are not working now. They're freaking wet. Everything's wet in my boat. Nobody knows where I'm at. Mike went one way. I went another way. I think they had already even called the Coast Guard, I think, because I was the last one. And so I'm telling you, it was bad. It was so bad. But dang, that Phoenix still floats. So I'm happy. So
thank goodness for bilge pumps.
Oh God, yes. Yes, for sure. My nitro, I swear I had a gremlin in it, because I get in there one day, bilge pumps work. The next day, it doesn't work at all. So been there, done that. For sure.
You mentioned Harvey earlier. Did I see that you guys are bringing your podcast back?
Yes, we're talking about bringing it back. I don't know how much I'm going to be a part of it. I'm going to kind of pop in and out. I have another friend that's going to be kind of taking my spot somewhat. She's very talented, but I promised I would pop in every so often. I don't have a lot of time for it, because I already have a very busy schedule, and it's hard for me to sit here and say I'm going to be on every Tuesday or every Wednesday when I don't want to get off the water until dark, because that's my practice time. And I need every minute that I can possibly get. And, I really think that, we're going to do it right this time. Not that we didn't do it right last time, but we got a lot of good new ideas and to bring to it. And, it's my baby, and it's kind of hard to say I won't always be there all the time, but I cannot mentally add anything at this point and it be good, because I want to give whatever I do 1,000%. And if I can't give it 1,000%, I don't need to be doing it. And if it's not my heart to do it, then it just isn't. And that's kind of how it is. I know what I care about right now, and that's to continue getting better at tournament angling, because I'm not going to be done with that anytime soon. Just continue getting better. Like I said, catch a limit every single time. That is my goal this year. Have I done that yet? I have with invitationals. I have not with MPFL. But it can be done. And so, so we are bringing it back. It's just, to what extent am I going to be a part of it? I really don't know that yet. So I'm kind of going to just fill it out. I just care so much about what I'm doing and my partnerships, and you can't give your time to everything all the time. I still have a family that needs me, and I need them. I need them in my life. That's what keeps me, just on a just equal, level, right? Is to see my family. And it's what makes me happy. So I can't see taking anything else away from them at the moment.
Totally get it. While
Sorry,
we're
I'm
on
throwing a
that
toy
subject-
for my dog. If y'all see my hand just going across, he keeps on giving me a toy.
While we're on that subject of partnerships, where can people see your content? What are your socials? And
Okay, so I have TikTok. I don't do as much on there as I was doing, but I have TikTok. I put a lot of my videos on there, a lot of my tournament footage, and I am one that will make fun of themselves. So you'll see all kinds of stupid things that I do. I even dance in the boat every so often. You can catch me doing that. I don't make a habit of that during a tournament now, but just for fun, right? I have Instagram. I have Facebook. I have 2 different Facebook pages, and neither one of them are private. You know, they're both business pages. And I was doing YouTube a little bit with Harvey for our Bass Hub, but I don't really do so much of that anymore because it's just a lot when it all comes down to it. Social media in general is a lot if you
yes,
think about it.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to watch everything you do because just like, you know, us talking on this podcast, you know, y'all have heard a lot of different things about me that I've really never said online before or anything like that. But I'm not a perfect individual. I do things that are wrong sometimes. I try to do the right thing. And, you know, I don't want y'all to see the bad. But unfortunately, we all have stories, right? And we all have lessons that we've learned that hopefully y'all will learn from us. Like, don't go to a bar and grill and do music and go and leave with like a $400 bill.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that part either until the next day. I'm curious of where all that $400 went. I'm still curious.
Shots.
I guess. I think it was Fireball. Heck if I know.
It doesn't take long to add up.
No, that's why I just don't go do those things.
Mm-mm.
I'm a poor fisherman.
Yeah, we're talking about.
Affording like $400 for one night.
Mm-hmm.
I would have bought a lot of stuff.
Yep.
Yep.
Lots of sluggos.
lots of
Do they
wow.
make those anymore?
I don't know.
I don't either.
I don't know.
Magnum Zoom flukes, about the closest I think I can find.
That pearl color that they used to have a pearl, I think, or silver or something. Oh, it was awesome.
Yep.
Really awesome. Whoever's listening, bring those back. I think we'd all use them. Everybody on here.
Yep.
Oh, guarantee it.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Well, Stephanie, you know, we're 2:15. I know you've been busy all day fishing and stuff. Really, really appreciate having the opportunity to have you on the show. It's been an enjoyable conversation. We ask this out of every person, every special guest we have. So if you win a tournament, if you pop a good bag and end up winning a tournament, we need you to come back on.
Heck yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it even if I come in last.
Okay.
Well, cool.
Yeah, we'll talk about the last place finish. No, I would absolutely love to do that again. Y'all are a joy to talk with, and you know, thank y'all for asking all the questions that y'all ask. I definitely appreciate it. You know, this is our one time that people actually get to see what your personality actually is, you know, versus just what you want everybody to see all the time, because you know that's what social media is,
Mm-hmm.
right?
That's right.
But I'm a human being. I'm not perfect, but
None of us are.
We are doing the best sport that was ever created in my eyes. And we're all blessed to be able to get in our boat every single day and be able to do that. So when you look around, know who made all that, because, you know, he made it all for us to enjoy every day of our lives, whether that's in the woods or on the water. So be sure to do that.
It's been awesome having you on, Stephanie. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks. Been great.
We'll
Thank
see y'all
you.
again another day
All
when I
right.
win. Or
Best
zero.
luck on the water.
We'll be following you. Good luck.
Okay, thank y'all. Bye.
wow.
Awesome.
I had an idea when John told us that he'd contacted her, that she was going to be a good guest. Because I've followed some of her stuff on TikTok and Instagram, and wow. Cool gal. Good attitude.
Yeah.
I needed to hear some positivity.
Mm-hmm.
I'm I'm kind of burnt out on the little sport right now with all the drama and crap, and I think 90% of it's clickbait.
Oh yeah.
I think 99% of it's clickbait, DB. And you know what I do to eliminate some of that?
Scroll on by,
Or don't scroll at all.
or don't scroll at all.
Yep. I mean, you.
It's always a
You-
good solution.
Yep. You guys have heard me say this many times. I don't watch. Like I just don't. I don't watch the news. I don't. There's very few fishing pot. I'll listen to Mercer because he's pretty positive most of the time, and that's about it.
There's been unfortunately, there's been a whole bunch of people taking that negative train, jumping to conclusions, all that. And once I heard kind of a little bit of the news and different things, I just bury myself in my shop when I get home.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I did my Monday morning Thanksgiving thing yesterday, and I told everyone that I was going to get on my fishing page and have a little rant about the goings on. And after a few minutes, I thought, then I'm just becoming what I hate.
Mm.
So I'm not going to add to it. What's the point?
Yeah.
We have things to be positive about right now. We don't have to focus on all the negative.
That's right.
Yeah, we got we got some gorgeous weather coming this week.
Mm-hmm.
That
Finally some sunshine. There might be some wind with it, but anything's got to be better than the weather last weekend. Anything?
I could not believe. Well, okay, I guess I shouldn't say it that way. With everything that I was sitting there scrolling through that was getting canceled, and AIA still going on, and I'm like, really?
It was something to be a part of.
And then Skeeter cancels the next day.
Yeah, which is a little premature, man.
Very premature.
I mean,
Very premature.
there was a tournament that happened on Stockton, and
It was beautiful. It was beautiful. I mean, it was cold, a little chilly.
Yeah, and I was told the wind blew over there a little bit, and but they got through it, right? Anglers in Action, they let us trailer. I was happy for that because it was gassing that morning pretty bad.
Yeah, it was blowing hard. Blew
And
our barbecue grill over again.
Wolf Creek was getting hammered pretty bad where the tournament normally goes out of. So I was happy that they let us trailer. They used to not, and there was a couple years there where there was pretty sketchy times.
Mm-hmm.
But they blasted them.
Yeah, they did.
Blasted them.
Yeah.
I'm still in shock.
Yeah. Wow. That yeah, wow.
Me and Mark cussed and discussed, and we still are yeah, I mean, I talked to him on my way home, and we're still just like, wow. We thought we had a pretty decent day. You know, we caught like 3 limits and yada yada yada, and 1677 and get 42nd place. What to do?
Mhm.
Whatever. I'm just happy that I live fairly close to Grand Lake, and at least get to fish one of the better lakes in the country, because there's nothing like it. You tell me, Mark Talley fished by himself. Stephanie, I think, chickened out a little bit. He had almost 20 pounds and didn't get a check.
Yeah.
19 some change.
1943.
Yeah. 19 some change and didn't get a check.
First out of the money.
Yeah. And the weekend before, I'm not rubbing this in. I hope he doesn't take it that way if he's listening. But him and Stephanie, they had 2 6-pounders the weekend before and didn't get big bass. Just like, oh man! But there's just a lot of good fishermen that fish that lake, So
Mm-hmm.
they only make you better too. So
Yeah, that's right.
it's crazy.
Did anybody happen to see Brock's video leaving Norfolk?
Yes.
The one that he looked like he was stranded on the bridge.
Yeah.
Or I'm assuming he was parked on the bridge, just kind of taking advantage of the situation. But he said that somebody told him to turn around.
Yeah, I guess the guy that lived at the other end of the bridge told him, you need to go back the other way.
That's good that somebody told him to turn around.
No kidding. Brent Shores made a video too. It may have been the same stretch of highway. But Brock drove straight from there to Kentucky Lake, and they started that. Was that Toyota today? I can't remember.
Yes.
Yeah.
Toyota series.
He was sitting in 23rd, I think. That's what I saw.
It's good.
Yeah. Casey won the Derby.
Yeah.
Good deal.
It's just crazy that the Opens have. It's crazy to me that there's 2 events now that the Opens have gotten limited to 1 day.
There's only one event they got to fish all 3. Only one.
It's like
far out of all the tournaments. I texted Hank, and
what's the chance?
That's the worst part of being a tournament director.
Oh, amen to that.
The worst part. And Hank has had 1 tournament where he hasn't had to cancel a day. And and that was Kentucky Lake. And he said, honestly, he probably should have one of those days.
Well, maybe start scheduling some tournaments a little later in the year.
Maybe. I mean,
maybe so.
I don't know what the answer is. I'm not smart enough to figure it out.
I think it's just been it's been a weird spring.
Yeah, it really has.
Yeah, when's the last time you can remember that it's been like that? Maybe not for a long, long time, if ever.
Yeah. And I hate to say it, but okay, well, I'm not hate to say that I'm a weather nerd, but I am a weather nerd, and I follow a bunch of weather nerd pages too. But several of them are saying to look for this cycle to repeat starting end of next week.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Danny. That's great. I hope it happens on Friday evening.
What happened to the positivity? Man, here we go again.
Especially being an individual that's in the hunt for a whole new set of foul weather gear, because every stitch of clothing on me Saturday completely failed.
You know what's going to happen? You're going to lay down the megabucks and outfit yourself.
It's not going to rain.
And then it's not going to rain.
It's like when you buy a snowblower for the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never get any snow.
That's all right. Go ahead and buy that suit.
It's worth it, man.
If that's what it takes, I promise you, I'll donate $10 for you to buy a new rain suit.
So just a extremely, extremely short story, I promise. April 4th was me and my wife's anniversary, wedding anniversary.
Congratulations.
And, obviously I went pre-fishing, came home at a decent hour, everything's fine. I go fishing the day after, and it's just as miserable, if not worse. As far as weather goes, fishing was great. But I got some friends waiting on me at the house Saturday when I get home. And because we've got reservations to get something to eat at the pit. And no, Travis Kelce's cutout wasn't there, so I didn't get my famous picture there, DB. Sorry.
Oh, crap.
Too bad. I wish you would have, because then they'd have lost the next Super Bowl.
Now,
But, I
gotta get there to lose.
Wow.
To give you guys just a little context of how wet I was, I stripped out of all my clothes except for my blue jeans and a t-shirt in the truck, ran the seat heat, the vent, and direct floor heat on myself in Moody's truck. And when I walked in the back door to the house, I had 4 sets of eyes on me, and they were all died laughing at how wet I still was. I looked like I had peed my pants. I had the legs of my pants rolled up because they were wet. And I was barefooted because my socks were soaked and I'd already taken them off an hour earlier. So.
Oh yeah. Richard Hefflin comment. Yeah. Yeah, I did.
Everybody got an earful when I walked in the house.
Do you want the Richard Hefflin story real quick in the quickest?
Absolutely. I mean, misery loves company.
Mm-hmm.
So the last BNC that Master Stewart directed, Monroe, Louisiana, and it's 45 degrees and rain every day.
Yep.
Richard gets off the water. He weighs the fish, and they had there was a caterer at the weigh-in, and he had red beans and rice and chili and stuff, and you just go over and get you a bowl. Well, Richard is like you, as you described Saturday. He's soaked to the bone, and he's he's got a big cup of chili, and he's standing there trying to talk to me, and his hands are sticking so hard he's shaking the chili out of the cup. And I felt so bad, for laughing right in his face. I couldn't help it though. I knew he was cold. I've been there and done that, but good night. That's a good memory. It wasn't a good time, but it was a good memory.
There was a moment earlier in that day where me and Moody kind of locked eyes a little bit, because he's got a brand new rain suit, and
well, yeah,
the only thing he's upset about is it's raining and he can't light a stove. He can't light a stove. Okay. I mean, let's face that's the truth. And he goes, you all right? Been a little quiet back there. I said, Mark, I swear to you, I am not ever going to complain about how hot it is. But my feet are wet. And I said, I'm just going to leave it at that. He goes, fair enough. I said,
Oh.
let's just keep fishing.
So do you not own a rain suit?
What's that?
Do you not own a rain suit?
Oh, no, I own one. No, it's just, it's met its life expectancy.
Okay. I was just wanting to clarify that just to make sure I understood.
I've owned a rain suit for quite a long time, and the issue is I've owned a rain suit for probably at least 10 years, I think. That's
Yeah.
I think 8 to 10 years is if you get even these high dollar ones, like the one I have that I've been talking to you about. That's my second one, and I had my first one for about 8 or 10 years before it started giving way.
Yeah. Man, that's when you think about it, I've been scouring the internet trying to make a decision on what I'm gonna do, and I mean, it's the only protection between you and the elements. And when they called boat number 1 and you've paid your entry fee, we're going. So you got to try to be comfortable somehow. I did learn a very valuable lesson. I am getting a pair of waterproof rubber boots.
Dude, they're so nice.
Deck boots. I have maybe found a pair, possibly. They're I've opened my eyes to some different things. My leather winter insulated waterproof boots, they just like snap of a finger just decide to start leaking water, and I'm like, not funny.
You can also put some of those hot hands in the toes of your rubber boots when it's cold out. That's great.
America.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, hot hands didn't work very well in my.
Well, your situation would seem like it was
cold hands in my new gloves because they were wet hands. That's a whole nother podcast story too. So
they didn't keep you dry?
No, they're still wet. I called the company today, left them a message. I'm going to call them back tomorrow.
Pulling Andy Dufresne on him, just keep sending him in a letter until they give you new ones.
Why did the water get inside of them? Probably
100%, almost like you held them open and turned a water faucet on.
Well, I mean, that can be from your rain suit, dripping down your arm into the gloves. I could see that.
I had the Velcro cuffs tight and everything. I don't know. Everything failed.
I mean, but if you're wet and you've got your gloves inside your rain suit, they're getting wet too. If you're inside the rain suit getting wet. So I told you what I'd get, and I'm sticking to it.
It's on the radar.
Sam Stanley says Huck gear leaking trash. That's the only one I haven't ever.
I've never had a problem with my hook gear leaking. Granted, I don't use it nearly as much as most people.
It's funny what Sam says. He goes, a pair of frog togs under the hook gear.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not a good sign.
You got to wear the hook gear on top so you look cool, but you wear the real stuff underneath.
Yeah,
I do
look cool.
I do have hook boots. The
Yep.
hook boots, and I like them. They're great.
Yep. I wear those like all the time. Not even fishing.
My problem is I need some support in my, so hopefully I don't have to. Like if it stops raining, I take them off and put my tennis shoes back on, just because I need support. But they are great to keep your feet dry.
Check. The size is comparable to a pair of tennis shoes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty. Mine was pretty true to size for me.
Yeah.
They have a pair of
I
royal
think
blue.
they just come in like whole sizes, don't they?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't think there's any
Like
halves.
8, 9, 10.
Yeah.
I did notice though they have a pair of royal blue. I'm like, that is rather fitting.
I got the woodland camo.
Hmm?
I got the woodland camo.
I just got the gray ones.
The struggles of fishing in inclement weather.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Good luck to all the guys fishing the Nation Open at Eufaula starting tomorrow. Bunch of our guys in that.
Yep.
I am not one of them.
Me neither. Me neither.
Dang it. I didn't ask her about Bigfoot.
No, you didn't. We can get her next.
Maybe next time.
We can get her next time.
You know, John, since just the four of us and our viewership, I only asked her one question, and we went 2 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, not quite. She's a fun lady. Very cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I knew it'd be a good one. Her and Harvey stayed here one time, I think. We should probably have Harvey on sometime. He'd be good. I saw somebody ask who's on next week. I don't know. I have a couple irons in the fire, waiting on responses. I mean, have got responses and waiting on just see if they can do it. Schedule wise. We're in that time frame. A lot of tournaments going on, and a lot of the guys just aren't available. The professional fishermen. So if we've got somebody else, that can slide in there next week, it might be a good week to do it.
Yes. Yeah. Well,
boys, girls, children of all ages.
Hey, did you guys hear about? Oh, I'm just kidding. I was trying to do a Midwest goodbye.
Hey, wait a minute. This will be real quick. I got a story.
See y'all next Tuesday.
That was almost dirty.
Mm-hmm. See you later.
Take us home, Mr. Crank.
Thanks for watching, guys. Go like our YouTube page.
Yes.
Like the YouTube page.
Yeah.
Subscribe, like, and subscribe to the YouTube page.
Can't get mine to do that at all.
What the heck?
How did I do that?
What are you doing?
He held up peace sign and he got balloons.
Go. Look at the balloons.
It's a bunch of crap. None of us can get it to work.
But I can do this too and get fireworks.
That's because you're like tied in with them.
Maybe you're the guy. You're the man.
Oh, I got a thumbs up on the screen.
He's tied in with them.
That's a bunch of crap.
AI or
That is a
something.
bunch of crap. Take us out, Kyle.
All right. See you guys next week.